Chapter 19. 99. Zhao Feng's lips curled into a smile. I'm really looking forward to this year's clan martial meet. To be able to enter the top 100 of the clan's disciples, one could already be considered as one of the elites of the same age. After all, there were thousands of disciples between the ages of 12 to 18, and there were at least 400 to 500 people participating. If it was the Zhao Feng of the past, he would be at the bottom of the pile. It was basically impossible for him to enter the top 100. There's still 20 days until the clan martial meet. I need to make the best use of my time. After Zhao Feng finished his registration, he immediately went home and prepared. The time for the clan martial meet was getting closer and closer. The entire Zhao family disciples were immersed in a strong training atmosphere. Many of the Zhao clan disciples, under this pressure, made breakthroughs and improvements, and this was also the result that the higher-ups of the Zhao clan wanted. After Zhao Feng returned, other than consolidating his inner strength, he did not neglect his Angry Dragon Fists training. Up until now, Angry Dragon Fists was Zhao Feng's strongest attack-type martial art. Half a month ago, Zhao Feng had already trained Angry Dragon Fists to the large success stage. Now, he had unknowingly trained this fist technique to the peak stage. The peak stage represented 90% mastery, and its power was more than half of the large success stage. Up until now, Zhao Feng had not heard of any outer disciple who had trained a middle-ranked martial art to the peak stage. At this time, there was still half a month until the clan martial meet. Time was getting shorter and shorter. Zhao Feng put more of his energy into training, and the focus was still on the air-crossing breathing technique, which focused on the training of inner strength. In order to consolidate his inner strength, Zhao Feng also used the most precious 300-year-old blood ginseng in his hands. Because he had condensed his inner strength in advance, Zhao Feng's progress was also extremely fast, and he tempered his body's strength faster than others. 3 days before the clan martial meet, Zhao Feng broke through to the peak of the 3rd rank, and was only half a step away from the peak of the 3rd rank. Zhao Feng heaved a long sigh. At this moment, he had raised every aspect of his body to its limit. There are still 3 days left. I wonder if I can break through to the 4th stage of the martial path. Zhao Feng muttered to himself. It was said that Zhao Linlong, the #1 disciple of the family, had already broken through to the 4th rank of the martial path 2 years ago and became a true martial artist. For the next 2 days, Zhao Feng tried to break through to the 4th rank of the martial path, but he failed every time. This was within his expectations. My martial path inner strength is slightly weaker than the 4th rank of the martial path, and my body is also lacking. Zhao Feng soon found the reason. The first 3 grades of the martial path were the foundation of cultivation. If one's foundation was unstable, it would affect their future cultivation. In the past 2 months, Zhao Feng had broken through again and again, but his foundation was still unstable. In view of this, Zhao Feng did not force it. He seized the time to cultivate and improve his state. Time flew by. The last day before the clan martial meet. The clan martial meet is starting tomorrow. Zhao Feng took a deep breath and slowly opened his palm. A faint green aura lightly whistled, like a sharp wind. With martial path inner strength, he could instantly kill a normal 3rd rank of the martial path. Now, he was no longer a quasi-martial artist, but a half-step martial artist. With the strength of a quasi-martial artist, he could easily defeat a normal 3rd rank of the martial path in 1 or 2 moves. He could even pose a threat to fierce beasts like the Tiger King. However, if he became a half-step martial artist, it could be said that he had half a foot in the door of a martial artist, and his strength would be even higher. With Zhao Feng's current strength, he could even fight against the Tiger King. The biggest difference between him and a martial artist was not martial path inner strength, but the lack of physical strength. Late at night. In the courtyard of a certain building in the Zhao clan. Clang! A cold sword light broke out of its sheath and turned into a cold stream in the air, causing the surrounding air to be piercingly cold. The owner of the sword light was a purple-clothed youth with straight eyebrows. The power of his sword had reached a terrifying level. A casual swing of his sword was comparable to Xin Fei's wind-splitting slash. It could easily cut down a tree that required two people to wrap their arms around. A normal third-rank martial disciple would not be able to block it at all. Jian, not bad. You have already trained the high-ranked martial art, cold-flowing sword, to great success. Looking at the outer disciples of the Zhao clan, you are probably the only one who has trained a high-ranked martial art to great success. A middle-aged martial artist said with a smile. The purple-clothed youth who was training with the sword was one of the top 3 outer disciples of the Zhao clan, Zhao Yijian. Looks like the first position of the outer disciples will change. And that clown, Zhao Feng, I will definitely make him lose face. Zhao Yijian's gaze was as cold as a sword. Especially when he mentioned Zhao Feng, the sword in his hand instantly slashed out 4 to 5 cold streams of sword light. Even a true martial artist would be moved by this level of power. Jian, don't limit your vision to the outer disciples of the Zhao clan. The middle-aged martial artist shook his head. Your real opponents are the inner disciples. With your current strength, it won't be a problem for you to fight your way into the top 20. If you can fight your way into the top 10, then I will really gain face. Yes, father. I have at least a 70% chance of fighting my way into the top 10. Zhao Yijian's battle intent was sonorous and full of confidence. In the Zhao clan, in another exquisite building, the lights flickered. Yu Fei, the preliminaries of the Zhao clan will start tomorrow. How confident are you? An old man with a broken arm said with a smile. Don't worry, grandfather, I have absolute confidence. No one in the outer disciples of the Zhao clan is my opponent. Zhao Yufei's elegant and beautiful face blushed under the light, so beautiful that it was suffocating. The only one you have to be careful of in the outer disciples of the Zhao clan is Zhao Yijian. As for Zhao Yu, his specialty is his defense, so he shouldn't be a threat to you. The old man with a broken arm analyzed. Zhao Yijian? Maybe. Zhao Yufei didn't comment. As a genius, there was no one in the outer disciples of the Zhao clan that could enter her sight. But for some reason, the figure of a youth that stood tall and indifferent appeared in her mind. That person, even among the outer disciples, couldn't be ranked in the top 10, also, if you fight your way into the finals and meet the first-ranked, Zhao Linlong, don't try to be brave. He is indeed second to none in the younger generation of the Zhao clan. The old man with a broken arm reminded. At the same time. In the courtyard of a luxurious and tall building. Qian, Kuan, in this year's clan martial meet, you have to work hard and perform well. Especially Qian, your strength has already reached the level of a quasi-martial artist, you have to fight your way into the top 10 of the martial meet. A masculine and domineering voice sounded. Yes. Father. With my current strength, even Yu Zhao, who's ranked number 1 in the outer disciples, isn't a match for me. Zhao Qian's expression was calm and indifferent. Zhao Kuan, who was beside him, slightly clenched his teeth and said to himself, Zhao Feng. Now that I have broken through to the 3rd rank of the martial path, and the 13 changes of the poisonous snake has reached the 6th change, I will definitely not let you have an easy time in the clan martial meet. The clan martial meet that was about to begin shook the entire Zhao family. Even some of the higher-ups of the Zhao clan, including the elders, were secretly looking forward to it. On the eve of the martial meet, countless disciples of the Zhao clan were rubbing their fists. Everyone was waiting for tomorrow, for the chance to become a carp that leaped over the dragon's gate. The morning of the 2nd day. The sky was just beginning to show the white of a fish's belly. On the clan's important sky martial field, a group of people gradually gathered. Most of them were disciples of the Zhao clan, as well as some of the higher-ups of the Zhao clan. The top 3 outer disciples, Zhao Yu, Zhao Yijian, Zhao Yufei, and the others, all rushed over. Zhao Feng was also among them. This was the first time he had entered the clan's Sky Martial Field. Zhao Feng looked around. There were 10 stages in the Sky Martial Field, and each one was 100 meters in diameter, and made of extremely hard granite. As time passed, more and more disciples of the Zhao clan gathered. The majority of them were outer disciples, and there were a few hundred of them. As for the inner disciples, there weren't many of them. Zhao Feng didn't find it strange, because the clan martial meet would first have a preliminary competition. The so-called preliminary competition was a competition. First, the outer disciples of the Zhao clan would have a competition to choose the 50 spots for the overall competition. Then, they would compete against the 50 inner disciples of the Zhao clan. The purpose of this was to eliminate the weaker disciples of the outer disciples, and pick out the elites. The inner disciples had participated in the clan martial meet in the past, and they were listed in the top 50 of the overall competition. Therefore, the inner disciples didn't need to participate in the preliminary competition, and only needed to wait for the overall competition half a month later. After waiting for a long time, some inner disciples gradually appeared, and there were around 20 of them. These inner disciples looked at the outer disciples of the Sky Martial Field with interest. TSK, there are a few people among this year's outer disciples. I wonder how many inner disciples of the previous years will be eliminated. I think only the top 3 have some hope. Tens of inner disciples discussed in low voices. Look! The 4th-ranked inner disciple, Zhao Qin, has arrived. The crowd went into an uproar, and then fell into silence. Among the inner disciples, the focus of everyone's attention was a graceful and elegant young girl. She was beautiful and very quiet. She was Zhao Qin, ranked 4th among the inner disciples. Zhao Feng circulated his left eye, and he could feel a surge of inner strength from this girl. It was stronger than his own, and even more so in terms of quantity. Martial Warrior Realm. This Zhao Qin's cultivation is at the 4th rank of the martial path. Zhao Feng took in a cold breath. He had already expected that the inner disciples of the family would all have high cultivation, and seeing them today, they were even more terrifying than he had expected. If the 4th-ranked Zhao Qin was already this strong, then how strong would the 1st-ranked Zhao Linlong be? I heard that Zhao Qin's strength is only below Zhao Linlong, and is on the same level as Zhao Han and Zhao Qi. They belong to the 1st tier below the 4 great geniuses of Sun Feather City. The 1st-ranked Zhao Linlong, the 2nd-ranked Zhao Qi, the 3rd-ranked Zhao Han. None of them are here. The 1st-ranked outer disciple, Zhao Yu, had a solemn expression, and his expression was slightly ugly. It was obvious that the top 3 inner disciples didn't care about the outer disciples' competition at all. Their strength and rankings were so strong that they couldn't be shaken. Maybe they would only be seen in the overall competition. Half an hour later. A loud voice rang out, "The family sparring is about to begin. Today's competition is for the outer disciples, and the top 50 will be chosen from the 522 people." Chapter 20. The moment the voice rang out, it signaled the start of the clan's martial gathering. The crowd went silent. First round, group stage. All participants will be divided into 10 groups, and will be distributed to 10 stages. Now, we will begin. Under the arrangement of the clan, the outer disciples were all distributed to different stages. Number 188, Tournament Ring 7. When Zhao Feng heard this voice, he was arranged to go to Tournament Ring 7. The rules of the competition were that there would be around 50 people on each stage, and the top 10 would be chosen to advance to the next round. For example, the Tournament Ring 7 that Zhao Feng was in had 52 people. Zhao Feng's left eye swept across the 10 groups, and found that there was a rule to how the groups were distributed. The most obvious point was that the top 10 outer disciples were evenly distributed to 10 groups. For example, the first place Zhao Yu was distributed to the first group. Zhao Yijian and Zhao Yufei were distributed to the second and third groups. This was to prevent the stronger disciples from meeting each other too early. Every group will be evenly distributed to ensure that the top 10 of each group will advance. There won't be too many flukes. Zhao Feng inwardly nodded his head. Next, Zhao Feng began to pay attention to the stronger disciples in his group. In the 7th group, the strongest disciple was the 7th outer disciple, Zhao Qingang. Zhao Qinggang's figure was tall and straight, and his aura of the peak 3rd rank of the martial path caused some of the disciples nearby to be intimidated. To be able to enter the top 10 outer disciples, there must be something special about him. What surprised Zhao Feng the most was that he met someone familiar in the 7th group. It was a charming and beautiful girl in a snow-white robe, and her figure was very familiar. Brother Feng. Zhao Shui forced a smile, and looked at Zhao Feng, but didn't say anything. Zhao Feng only nodded his head in response. Little Shui. Don't worry. With Brother Jian's order, I'll definitely teach Zhao Feng a good lesson. It's best if I can injure him so that he won't be able to get a good ranking. Zhao Qingang, who was ranked first in the group, walked up to Zhao Shui and chuckled. You, Zhao Shui's eyes narrowed. She wanted to say something, but she hesitated. She didn't know why, but there was an instinctive urge in her heart that she didn't want to see Zhao Feng get a good ranking. At this moment, the allocation of each group began. Number 13 versus number 65. Number 48 versus number 355. Number 179 versus number 24. In the arena, the referee martial artist's voice sounded out. The first few rounds of the competition were quickly decided. The referees were all martial artists of the clan. They were very experienced and had sharp eyes. They could quickly make a judgment on the obvious difference in strength. For example, Zhao Qingang, the number 1 in his group, could send his opponent flying with one move. There was no suspense at all. Number 188 versus number 24. Finally, it was Zhao Feng's turn. Tang. With a light leap, he landed on the stage. Number 24 was a young man in the 2nd rank of the martial path. He was slightly plump, and when he saw that Zhao Feng was only in the 3rd rank of the martial path, he instantly showed a trace of fear. Wind-splitting palm. The plump young man clenched his teeth, gathered all the blood in his body, and rushed forward. What he displayed was a type of intermediate-level martial art that focused on speed and ferocity. Flaming metal fist. Zhao Feng casually punched out. The moment he punched out, the referee on Tournament Ring 7 had a strange look on his face. Because Zhao Feng used a basic fist technique. Bang! The fist and palm intersected. The plump young man let out a muffled groan as he was hit by Zhao Feng's punch. His figure staggered, and he directly tumbled to the ground. Number 188 wins. The referee was slightly stunned, but he quickly made a judgment. This was Zhao Feng's first match, and he had won so easily. Because his opponent wasn't strong, he didn't attract too much attention. Humph. This kid is so arrogant, he actually used a basic fist technique. Some of the spectating disciples sneered. Number 188 against number 66. After a while, it was Zhao Feng's turn for the 2nd time. In the group stage, there was a rule that if you lost a total of 10 matches, you would be eliminated. This was because the group stage only had 10 people in each group. If you could win 20 matches in a row, you would immediately advance to the next round and leave the group stage. Zhao Feng's 2nd fight was against a long-faced young man in the peak 2nd rank of the martial path. Flaming metal fist. Zhao Feng's fist didn't even need to think. It was like a fish swimming through the deep sea coral, accurately hitting the opponent's vitals. Bang! The long-faced young man let out a muffled groan as he was knocked to the ground by Zhao Feng's punch. Another basic fist technique. Some of the clan's disciples on the stage had displeased expressions. The referee was slightly startled, but his face was expressionless. Number 188 wins. This was Zhao Feng's 2nd victory. His performance attracted the attention of some of the Zhao clan's disciples. However, in the next 2 matches, Zhao Feng won both with basic fist techniques. 4 wins in a row. This kid is too arrogant. Does he think that he's invincible just by relying on basic fist techniques? Humph. His opponents aren't strong. It won't be so easy when he meets someone of the same level. Some of the disciples below the stage snorted at Zhao Feng's performance. Number 188 against number 47. Finally, in the 5th round, Zhao Feng's opponent was a disciple in the 3rd rank of the martial path, who was ranked in the top 5 of the group. Zhao Kuei. Defeat that kid. Below the arena, someone shouted. There were already many people who were dissatisfied with Zhao Feng. Kid, it's over. Zhao Kuei's tall figure stood at the front, his powerful blood essence condensed in the muscles of his limbs. Just by standing there, he could bring great pressure to the other disciples in the 2nd rank of the martial path. There were only 60 outer disciples in the 3rd rank of the martial path participating. Therefore, every disciple in the 3rd rank of the martial path was considered strong in their group. Show me what you've got. Zhao Feng smiled indifferently. He didn't care about ordinary disciples in the 3rd rank of the martial path. Ha ha ha, if you have the guts, then use your basic fist techniques. Zhao Kuei laughed. His figure was like a lion as he pounced towards Zhao Feng. Lion King's fury. Zhao Kuei's blood essence condensed and merged with his body, forming a terrifying impact on Zhao Feng. Even an expert at the peak of the 3rd rank of the martial path wouldn't dare to clash head-on with such power. Huh, not bad. Take this, flaming metal fist. Zhao Feng's figure flashed, and he actually took the initiative to meet Zhao Kuei's attack. Flaming metal fist again. Some of the disciples below the stage almost fainted. Who? Zhao Feng's fist seemed to be accompanied by a blazing flame as it collided with Zhao Kuei's body. Bang, a heavy and oppressive bang exploded out on arena number 7. Then, a roar rang out. Bam! Zhao Kuei's body that was as tall as a tiger was lying on the ground, and a few of his teeth had been broken. What? The disciples below the stage were dumbfounded. Number 188, Zhao Feng wins. The judge couldn't believe his eyes when he announced the result. Another basic fist technique. 5 wins in a row. This was undoubtedly a slap to the faces of the disciples. Basic fist technique. How is this possible? Zhao Kuei walked off the stage with a livid face. After defeating Zhao Kuei, Zhao Feng's next matches were even easier. 5 wins in a row. 6 wins in a row. 7 wins in a row. In the end, some of the opponents below the 3rd rank of the martial path would directly admit defeat when they saw him. In the tournament ring 7, the only one who had the same winning streak was Zhao Qingang, who was ranked 1st in the group. So this kid has trained his basic fist technique to the peak. No wonder he's so strong. This must be the result of training in basic fist techniques. Humph, when you meet me, I'll let you taste the power of a high-ranked martial art. Zhao Qingang sneered inwardly. Up until now, Zhao Feng and Zhao Qingang, who were known as the 2 heroes of the tournament ring 7, had maintained their winning streak. 7 wins in a row. 8 wins in a row. 9 wins in a row. 10 wins in a row. Who do you think is stronger, Zhao Feng or Zhao Qingang? I think Zhao Qingang has a higher chance of winning, but Zhao Feng isn't weak either. He's obviously a dark horse. The disciples near the stage discussed among themselves. Like the other groups, they all had a strong cultivator who was invincible. For example, Zhao Yu and Zhao Yijin. Their strength dominated the entire group, and most of their opponents gave up. Especially Zhao Yijin, his strength was too terrifying. His sword could easily take someone's life, and most of his opponents gave up. Only Group 7 had a situation where two heroes advanced side by side. Many people were looking forward to the encounter between Zhao Feng and Zhao Qingang. In Zhao Feng's 12th match, he met a familiar person. That person was Zhao Shui. She was an awkward opponent. Zhao Shui, admit defeat. Zhao Feng said calmly. Zhao Shui had just barely reached the peak of the second rank, and she definitely wasn't his opponent. At this time, even Zhao Yijian, who was on stage 2, was paying attention to the situation. Admit defeat? I won't. Zhao Shui gritted her teeth, and her delicate and beautiful face revealed a trace of stubbornness. She wouldn't allow herself to admit defeat to Zhao Feng like this. At that time in Greenleaf Town, Zhao Shui had always worshipped and admired Zhao Feng, and she felt that he was the most outstanding youth in the town. However, after entering Sun Feather City's Zhao clan, she realized that Greenleaf Town was so tiny. As a weak girl, under the unfamiliar and cruel environment, she resolutely made a choice to climb up to Zhao Yijian, who was ranked in the top 3 of the outer disciples. Even though Zhao Feng had never accepted her, Zhao Shui wasn't willing to admit defeat to the choice she made. All right. Zhao Feng shook his head helplessly. Floating wind hand. Zhao Shui let out a delicate shout, and her slender figure was like a strand of wind as it fused into the continuous palm strike that pointed straight at Zhao Feng's temple. Floating wind hand was a peak intermediate level martial technique that was suitable for females to cultivate, and it excelled in using softness to overcome hardness. In terms of cultivation technique rank, Floating Wind Hand was comparable to Zhao Feng's Raging Dragon Fist, but it could restrain the latter, and it could similarly restrain the ferocious style of Flaming Metal Fist. Flaming Metal Fist. Zhao Feng remained unmoved, and a simple and unadorned basic fist struck out in a neither fast nor slow manner. Bang! A fist and a palm overlapped each other. After that, Zhao Shui let out a delicate groan as her body became unstable, and she looked like she was about to fall. Alas! Zhao Feng lightly sighed, and he extended his hand to support Zhao Shui. After all, she was a disciple of the same clan that grew up with him, and he couldn't bear to see her fall. Wind point. Unexpectedly, the instant Zhao Shui was supported by him, a cold light flashed in her eyes, and her jade finger drew out a sharp whistling sound as it pointed straight at Zhao Feng's chest. This sudden change in scene caused all the clan disciples present to exclaim in shock. The judge was also stunned. At such a close distance, it was impossible for Zhao Feng to dodge the attack as he supported Zhao Shui. Humph! A trace of anger appeared on Zhao Feng's face, and a powerful aura surged from his body. His arms and body trembled, and Zhao Shui was sent flying. Plop! Zhao Shui let out a shriek as she spat out a mouthful of blood, and flew out of the stage. She fell to the ground and groaned in pain. Number 188, Zhao Feng wins. The judge coldly announced, and at the same time, he glanced at Zhao Shui with disdain. Obviously, Zhao Shui's previous performance made the judge feel ashamed. Shui! Zhao Yijian, who was on the second stage, exclaimed as he flew over. Zhao Feng walked down the stage with a cold expression. He never expected that Zhao Shui would make a move against him under such circumstances. Kid, let's wait and see. When you meet me, you'll know what shame is. Zhao Yijian's eyes flashed with a cold light. I'm looking forward to it as well. Zhao Feng turned around and left, not looking at Zhao Shui again. He could still vaguely hear Zhao Shui's voice, Brother Jian, you must take revenge for me. After defeating Zhao Shui, Zhao Feng had won 12 times in a row. 12 times in a row. 13 times in a row. 14 times in a row. Zhao Feng's battle record was increasing bit by bit. From the looks of it, he was going to sweep the tournament Ring 7 with a set of foundational fist techniques. In the entire tournament Ring 7, only Zhao Qingang, who was ranked first in the group, had a similar battle record as him. 6 more battles and I'll be able to advance to the next round. Zhao Feng was calm throughout the entire battle. However, in the 15th round, Zhao Feng met Zhao Qinggang, who was ranked first in the group. The situation of the tournament Ring 7, Two Heroes Advance, had finally reached a climax. We've finally met. The disciples of the Zhao clan in the 7th group heaved a sigh of relief as if a heavy burden had been lifted from their shoulders. They all looked excited. Even some of the contestants from the other groups were looking at them eagerly and expectantly. Interesting. The judge of the tournament Ring 7 revealed a smile. Kid, we've finally met. If you're so good, continue to use foundational fist techniques. Zhao Qinggang licked his lips with a playful smile in his eyes. In terms of strength, Zhao Qinggang was ranked top 10 among the outer disciples. What he practiced was a high-level martial art, which was 3 levels higher than foundational fist techniques. If Zhao Feng still dared to use foundational fist techniques, it would be tantamount to asking for humiliation. At this moment, the gazes of many members of the Zhao clan were attracted to them. Why not? I'll continue to use foundational fist techniques. Zhao Feng said calmly. What? He's still using foundational fist techniques. The crowd was in an uproar, followed by more sounds of shock and gasps. Is this kid on the wrong side of the bed? He's too arrogant. Does he really think that he can sweep the group stage with foundational fist techniques? He's still using foundational fist techniques. The judge's face twitched violently. Even from the judge's point of view, he felt that Zhao Feng was being too arrogant. As his opponent, the smile on Zhao Qinggang's face suddenly froze, as if he had been slapped hard in the face. Chapter 21. Zhao Feng's words caused an uproar. Especially the disciples of the Zhao clan in the 7th group, almost all of them hated Zhao Feng. How dare he? This guy is too arrogant. Zhao Qinggang, beat him up. The commotion attracted the attention of the disciples of the other groups. Fundamental martial arts. Interesting. Among the spectators, there was a graceful and quiet girl. She smiled, showing a trace of interest. The one who spoke was Zhao Qin, ranked 4th among the inner disciples. As an inner disciple, Zhao Qin didn't need to participate in the preliminaries, and her cultivation level was enough to show disdain to all the disciples. Even Zhao Yu, ranked 1st among the outer disciples, was a level lower than her. Good. Fundamental martial arts. I'd like to see it. Zhao Qinggang's face was pale, and his eyes were extremely gloomy. His opponent's performance was a complete insult and disregard for the first place in his group. Flowing wind fist. The anger under Zhao Qinggang's gloomy face burst out along with the fist that was as fast as wind and thunder. As soon as he made his move, he used the advanced martial art, flowing wind fist. This set of fist art suppressed people with speed and momentum. When it was mastered, it could sweep away the autumn wind and leaves, and its attacks were like a storm. The power of Zhao Qinggang's moves was completely within everyone's expectations. His strength was close to that of a prospective martial artist, and he lived up to his reputation as the first in the group and the 7th outer disciple. However, most people paid attention to Zhao Feng. Facing the 7th outer disciple and the first in the group, would Zhao Feng still use the fundamental martial arts? Zhao Feng was as calm and collected as ever. He used his own actions to explain everything. Flaming metal fist. The simple and unadorned punch was like a ball of fiery light, displaying the endless passion of life. It was perfect, as if it was made by the heavens. Another fundamental martial arts. In the sky martial field, many disciples of the Zhao clan were attracted by Zhao Feng's movements. Flaming metal fist again. He's still using basic boxing techniques. Some members of the Zhao clan were dumbfounded, their faces full of astonishment. Many people thought that Zhao Feng was only saying it verbally and did not dare to be so arrogant in reality. The reality was even crazier than they had imagined. Brat, how arrogant. Get down. Zhao Qingyang's eyes were almost spitting fire. His fists were like a meteor storm, and his momentum was like thunder, causing the surrounding air to faintly suffocate. The power of that punch made many members of the Zhao clan cheer. I'm afraid a normal third-rank martial path cultivator can't take this punch. Not bad. You've mastered Flowing Wind Fist, and you've grasped some of its essence. Even some of the clan elders nodded in agreement. Bang bang bang, two figures approached each other in the blink of an eye, and their fists collided. Get down. Zhao Qingyang's eyes were bloodshot. He poured in all his strength and pushed Flowing Wind Fist to its limit. If he couldn't take down Zhao Feng in 2 or 3 moves, how would he be able to stand in the top 10 outer disciples? Open. Zhao Feng's eyes were calm and steady. His punch seemed to have a mind of its own. It was like a burning flame in the air, and at a subtle moment, it blocked Zhao Qingyang's punch. Bang bang. Zhao Qingyang's body shook, and a strong aura made his fist go numb. He lost control of his body and took 2 steps back. As for his opponent, Zhao Feng's body only slightly swayed. How is this possible? Zhao Qingyang's face was full of shock and disbelief. He thought that his punch would be able to take down Zhao Feng, but it was easily repelled by his opponent. What's going on? The members of the Zhao clan near tournament ring number 7 were stunned. I don't believe it. It must have been a coincidence. That kid hit the weak point of my move by accident. Zhao Qingyang roared in anger. He once again activated Flowing Wind Fist and lunged at Zhao Feng. Flame Steel 4th move. Zhao Feng was calm and composed, and he was still using the fundamental boxing technique. Bang bang. The two clashed again. Under the head-on collision, Zhao Qingyang was pushed back again. Although the outcome of the 2 face-to-face confrontations was not decided, Zhao Qingyang was faintly being suppressed. It's really the fundamental boxing technique. How did he do it? Some of the disciples who were watching the battle were stunned, and they didn't know what to do. How can a fundamental boxing technique be able to fight against a high-ranked martial art and gain the upper hand? Many of the Zhao clan's disciples were confused. 1 move. 2 moves. 3 moves, Zhao Qingyang was repeatedly pushed back by Zhao Feng. Both of them were at the same level, so it was normal for them to have their advantages and disadvantages. However, it was shocking to hear that a fundamental boxing technique could suppress a high-ranked martial art. What was going on? Zhao Qingyang looked like he had gone crazy, and he attacked hysterically. Therefore, many people looked at the judges and some of the elders in the spectator stands. Zhao Feng's battle awareness and combat skills are far better than Zhao Qingyang's, and he is calm enough. One of the judges said uncertainly. His analysis was obviously not satisfactory. This kid actually cultivated a set of basic fist technique to the perfection stage. An old voice came from the center of the spectator stands. The speaker was an old man with a white beard, and he was the head judge of the preliminaries. Perfection. Some of the judges nodded, and they immediately understood. It was common knowledge that the higher the level of a martial art, the more powerful it would be. However, this was not absolute. Martial arts were divided into high and low levels, but different people cultivated them and had different levels of attainment. For example, one person had mastered a low-ranked martial art to great success, while the other person had just mastered a high-ranked martial art. In this way, the person who mastered a high-ranked martial art would not be a match for the person who mastered a low-ranked martial art. Normally, martial arts that could increase one's power were divided into 4 realms: beginner, small success, great success, and peak. The peak success was 90% mastery. It was rare for a normal person to master a martial art to the peak success. However, the peak success did not mean that it was the highest. Above this, there was the even higher realm of perfection. The so-called perfection was at least 99% mastery, and it was even close to perfection. Although the difference between the perfection and the peak success seems small, the former is to master a set of martial arts to perfection, to return to its original state, and even to break away from the shackles of martial arts. Therefore, the difference between the perfection and the peak success is even bigger than the difference between small success and great success. The head judge said with a smile. Even so, Zhao Feng should only be able to fight to a draw with Zhao Qinggang. A martial artist next to him still did not understand. After all, a high-ranked martial art was 3 levels higher than a fundamental one, and Zhao Qinggang had mastered a high-ranked martial art to the small success. That's right. A fundamental fist technique at the perfection level could barely fight to a draw with a high-ranked martial art at the small success level. However, as you can see, Zhao Feng's qi and blood strength, reflexes, mentality, and battle awareness are all better than Zhao Qinggang's. He is indeed a talent with potential. The head judge said with a hint of admiration. After hearing his explanation, the crowd finally understood. Right at this moment, a change occurred in the situation on arena number 7. Zhao Feng is starting to fight back. Oh my god! He is so fast. Everyone's attention was attracted by the tournament ring number 7. Bang! Pack! Bang! Zhao Feng changed from defense to offense. His punches were unconstrained, and it seemed to have surpassed the limits of the flaming metal fist. His attacks, speed, and power were flawless, and he always hit the opponent's vitals. Zhao Qinggang, who was originally furious, suddenly became flustered. In a moment of distraction, he took a punch from Zhao Feng. Pack! Zhao Qinggang's shoulder was hit, and he screamed in pain. His joints were dislocated, and he fell to the ground, sweating profusely. Number 188, Zhao Feng wins. The judge of tournament ring number 7 let out a long breath, and his eyes were still filled with surprise. Wow! The disciples of Zhao clan in group 7 were shocked. Zhao Feng defeated Zhao Qinggang, and he used fundamental fist techniques. I can't believe it. Zhao Qinggang is number 1 in the group. Zhao Feng defeated Zhao Qinggang in a row, and he won 15 times in a row. This also meant that he became the number 1 in group 7. Such a victory made him the focus of the outer disciples for the first time. At this moment, the number 1 Zhao Yu, the top 3 Zhao Yijian, Zhao Yufei, and Zhao Qian all looked at Zhao Feng. Complete mastery. Last time when the instructor was teaching, I felt that the moves of the flaming metal fist had completely disappeared from my mind. This is probably the reason. Zhao Feng understood. Ever since he came back from the class, he felt that his fundamental fist techniques had reached a whole new level, and he estimated that he could fight against a prospective martial artist. And Zhao Qinggang's strength was barely close to a prospective martial artist. Not bad, among the outer disciples, there is a dark horse. The head judge smiled. Mastery of the fundamental fist techniques to the complete mastery is indeed unexpected. But, he met my son, Zhao Yijian, and he could only suffer a crushing defeat. Fundamental martial arts are, after all, only the basics. A middle-aged martial artist beside him smiled lightly. Oh. The head judge's face showed a trace of interest, and he looked at the middle-aged martial artist who spoke. The middle-aged martial artist was Zhao Yijian's father. The middle-aged martial artist smiled and did not reply. His gaze fell on Zhao Yijian in group 2, and he looked very confident. That's right, the potential of fundamental martial arts is limited. Zhao Feng must have spent a lot of effort to master the fundamental fist techniques to the complete mastery, and he did not have the time to master other high-level martial arts. What a pity. The head judge could not help but shake his head at the end of his sentence. Humph. Perfect mastery. Fundamental martial arts. Zhao Yijian from the second team had a mocking expression on his face. In his eyes, fundamental martial arts were not worth mentioning, even if they were mastered to the complete mastery. The snow-robed girl beside him looked at Zhao Feng, and her bright eyes dimmed. She bit her lips and said in a low voice, "Brother Jian, you must defeat him." "Shui'er, don't worry. I will defeat him in at least 3 moves, and at most 10 moves. But I don't want to let him go so easily. I will definitely humiliate him when the time comes," Zhao Yijian said confidently. His voice was very loud, and many people in the crowd heard it. At this moment, Zhao Feng's gaze fell on them. The two of them looked at each other. Zhao Yijian's eyes were cold, and his face was gloomy. Zhao Feng's face was calm, and he had a faint smile on his face. Number 188 versus number 233. The group competition was still ongoing. After Zhao Feng defeated Zhao Qinfeng, he had no opponents in the tournament ring 7. 16 consecutive wins, 17 consecutive wins, 18 consecutive wins. Most of Zhao Feng's opponents admitted defeat, and even if they fought, they were defeated by one fundamental fist technique. Losing to a fundamental fist technique is too embarrassing. The disciples of Zhao clan in Group 7 saw Zhao Feng as a plague, and they kept a respectful distance from him. 18 consecutive wins, 19 consecutive wins, 20 consecutive wins. Finally, Zhao Feng won 20 consecutive wins, and he successfully advanced out of the group competition. Chapter 22. Who? Zhao Feng let out a sigh of relief and sat below the stage to rest. The surrounding Zhao clan disciples looked at him with fear and dread. In the group stage, Zhao Feng was a dark horse. With a set of foundational martial arts, he was invincible. Even Zhao Qingang, who was ranked 7th, had lost to him. After 20 consecutive wins, Zhao Feng had already left the group stage and didn't need to compete anymore. I wonder how the other groups are doing. Zhao Feng's gaze swept across the other groups. In the preliminaries, the entire venue was split into 10 groups. Each group had a top outer disciple. Apart from Zhao Feng, the other groups also had people who won 20 consecutive wins and left the group stage. Among them, the fastest was Zhao Yijian of the second group. The speed of Zhao Yijian's sword was frighteningly fast. His eyes could only see a cold stream of sword light. Before his opponent could even react, the tip of the sword was already at his throat. In terms of speed, Zhao Yijian was even faster than Zhao Yu. In the outer disciples tournament, only the top 3, Zhao Yu, Zhao Yijian and Zhao Yufei, can threaten me. Zhao Feng observed calmly. Zhao Yu, who was ranked first, was 17 years old and had a strong physique. His foundation was deeper than everyone else's. Headwind fist. A disciple of the 3rd rank of the martial path punched Zhao Yu. The latter's body was like a mountain and his skin was as hard as iron. What? The Zhao clan disciple of the 3rd rank of the martial path had a pale face and beads of sweat appeared on his forehead. What a strong defense! Zhao Feng's heart trembled. A full force attack of the 3rd rank of the martial path couldn't injure Zhao Yu at all. It was conceivable that Zhao Yu must have cultivated a defensive martial art that strengthened his body, causing his defensive power and resistance to far exceed those of the same level. At the very least, under normal circumstances, Zhao Feng wouldn't be able to use his body to take an attack from someone of the 3rd rank of the martial path without being injured. If Zhao Yijian's specialty was speed and powerful attacks, then Zhao Yu was the exact opposite. He was very stable and specialized in defense. Following closely behind her was Zhao Yufei, who was ranked 3rd. She was lithe and agile, and her beauty was otherworldly. Her cultivation technique was a combination of hardness and softness. She would often defeat her enemies in a casual manner, giving off a graceful and moving sense of beauty. She wore a purple dress with long eyelashes and jade-like skin. Her figure was graceful like a dream and she was extremely eye-catching on the stage. Watching Zhao Yufei's battle had a pleasing feeling to the eye. Who is she? At such a young age, he already has the strength of a quasi-martial artist. Even some of the inner disciples were attracted to Zhao Yufei. She's really beautiful, her temperament is extraordinary, and her talent is high. Such a beauty would be dazzling even if she entered the inner disciples. I'm afraid we won't be able to get her. She's still young. In another 2 years, she might be able to compete with the #1 beauty of Sun Feather City, Qiu Menyu. To a certain extent, Zhao Yufei's attention exceeded that of Zhao Yu and Zhao Yijian, who were ranked first and second. This was mainly because of her beauty and talent. In just a short while, there were 10 people who had won 20 battles in a row in the group stage. The first group was Zhao Yu, the second group was Zhao Yijian, the third group was Zhao Yufei, the fourth group was Zhao Qian, and the fifth group was Zhao Guang. These names were basically the top 10 of the outer disciples. However, the only one that was different was the seventh group. Zhao Feng was a dark horse, and he replaced Zhao Qingang in the 7th place. Other than these 10 people, there were very few people who had won 20 battles in a row. The group stage continued, and the top 10 were chosen from each group, determined by the number of battles won. Using only 1 day's time, the group stage competition would select 100 people. These 100 people were all the elites of the outer disciples. However, in order to participate in the clan martial meet and compete with the inner disciples, only the top 50 outer disciples would be chosen. On the second day, the 100 advanced disciples once again gathered at the Sky Martial Field. After a night's rest, Zhao Feng was full of energy. He realized that through this kind of competition, his cultivation would improve to a certain extent. Today we will enter the second round, the ranking competition. The 100 of you are all the elites of the outer disciples, but in today's competition, half of you will be eliminated, and 50 will be chosen to participate in the martial meet. Next, the competition rules. A loud and clear voice resounded throughout the entire Sky Martial Field. The 100 people participating in the ranking competition all held their breaths, carefully listening to the competition rules. The ranking competition used a point system. Everyone started off with 1 point, and with every win, 1 point would be added, and with every loss, 1 point would be deducted. In the end, the ranking would be based on the number of points, and the top 50 would be chosen to compete with the inner disciples. The competition begins. As the host's voice fell, the judges on the 10 stages began to announce the competition numbers. Number 144 against number 26. Number 73 against number 429. The 10 stages were not divided into groups, and the competition was carried out at the same time. On every stage, after one round of competition ended, the next round would immediately begin, and the efficiency was extremely high. Usually, when facing a strong opponent, many people would choose to forfeit. For example, Zhao Yu, Zhao Yijian, these top disciples with unshakable strength, would directly forfeit, and save their energy for the next round of competition. Number 188 against number 169. Finally, it was Zhao Feng's turn. His opponent was a black-faced youth at the peak of the second rank of the martial path. I forfeit. Seeing that it was Zhao Feng, the black-faced youth shuddered, and immediately forfeited. Zhao Feng could not help but be startled. It turned out that this black-faced youth was in the same group as Zhao Feng, but they did not fight. However, he had witnessed the entire process of Zhao Feng dominating the group with his fundamental fist technique. Just like that, Zhao Feng easily obtained the first point of the competition, and his points increased from 1 to 2. The efficiency of the competition was very high, and even if there was a fight, the judges had the right to decide the winner. Not long later, it was Zhao Feng's turn for the second time. This time, his opponent was a pretty girl in plain clothes, and she was only in the second rank of the martial path. You are very strong, and I have seen your previous battles, but I will not give up so easily. The girl bit her lips. Facing such a weak opponent, most people would be soft-hearted, and they would go easy on her. Flaming Metal Fist. The simple fundamental fist technique whistled like a ball of fire, and the girl was pushed back 5 to 6 meters, and fell to the ground. Winning in one move, clean and direct. Zhao Feng did not want to waste time, and his opponent's strength was too weak. I lost. The girl was a little disappointed, and she left quietly. TSK. What's so great about bullying a weak girl? I will definitely take revenge for Sister Xian when I go up. Zhao Feng's performance caused some of the youths to be dissatisfied. Number 188 wins. The judge looked at Zhao Feng with slight admiration. The following battles were carried out in an orderly manner. Zhao Feng's points continued to accumulate. Forfeit. I give up. Flaming Metal Fist. Most of Zhao Feng's opponents admitted defeat, and only a few of them stubbornly resisted, and they naturally lost on the spot. This kid's strength has probably reached the quasi-martial path. As the battle continued, more and more people recognized his strength. In his free time, Zhao Feng did not forget to pay attention to Zhao Yu, Zhao Yijian, and the others' battles. At a certain moment, a battle on the third stage attracted everyone's attention. Look! Zhao Yijian versus Zhao Qian. Many people exclaimed, and it attracted many people's attention. Zhao Feng looked to the side and saw Zhao Yijian and Zhao Qian were already fighting. The battle between the second and fourth ranked disciples naturally attracted attention. Both of them were in the top 5, and their strength was not that far apart. Venomous Serpent 10th Transformation. Zhao Qian snorted, and like a snake, he moved nimbly on the ground, dodging a few attacks from Zhao Yijian, and kept getting closer to him. Zhao Feng was slightly moved. After not seeing Zhao Qian for a month, his strength had increased so much, and he had trained the 13th transformation of the Venomous Serpent to the 10th transformation, reaching the quasi-martial path. The current Zhao Qian's strength was comparable to Xian Fei in the Sky Cloud Forest. You've improved a lot, but you're still my loser. Zhao Yijian's expression was cold and arrogant, and the sword in his hand flashed, creating a cold stream of sword light. Some of the disciples of the Zhao clan outside the stage felt an inexplicable chill. High-ranked martial art, cold flowing sword. This is a high-ranked martial art that is extremely difficult to learn, and it's known for its speed and sharpness. It's extremely difficult to deal with. Some people whispered. The sword light in Zhao Yijian's hand became colder and colder, and a trace of cold trajectory was left behind, like the cold wind in winter. Zhao Qian barely dodged a few attacks, but he was in danger, and a bloody mark was left on his body. In his senses, wisps of cold sword wind covered his body and mind, like a shadow that wouldn't disappear. Zhao Yijian wins. The judge immediately stopped the fight and declared Zhao Yijian the winner. At this time, Zhao Qian's back was soaked with cold sweat, and he looked at Zhao Yijian in disbelief. How did he do it? In less than 10 moves, Zhao Yijian defeated Zhao Qian. Zhao Yijian's strength has become so strong. Some of the disciples of the Zhao clan were frightened. In the past, Zhao Yijian and Zhao Qian had fought before. But at that time, if Zhao Yijian wanted to defeat Zhao Qian, it was possible that it would take at least dozens of moves, and at most hundreds of moves. I'm afraid Zhao Yijian's strength can compete with Zhao Yu. Some people guessed. Zhao Yijian and Zhao Yu, one was good at attacking, and the other was good at defending. If these two met, what would the result be? Many people were secretly looking forward to it. The competition proceeded in an orderly manner. Zhao Yijian and Zhao Yu became the hot contenders for first place among the outer disciples. Secondly, Zhao Yufei was very popular, and had not lost a single match. Zhao Feng quietly observed all this, his expression as calm as ever. When he had accumulated 45 points, Zhao Feng had not lost a single match. At this time, he met a strong opponent. It was Zhao Guang, ranked 5th among the outer disciples. His ranking was just below Zhao Qian. Zhao Guang had also accumulated more than 40 points, and had only lost one match to Zhao Yu. Hee, kid. Since you've met me, your winning streak will end here. Zhao Guang smiled brightly. Many people looked at Zhao Feng with schadenfreude. Ranked 5th, this was the strongest opponent Zhao Feng had met so far. Your strength is barely at the threshold of a prospective martial artist. Zhao Feng said calmly. Is that so? Then I would like to see what other moves you have other than basic fist techniques. Zhao Guang's eyes flashed coldly. Whoosh! As soon as he finished speaking, he flashed to Zhao Feng's side. His figure was like a ghost, and many people felt their vision blur. So fast. Among the top 5, Zhao Guang and Zhao Yufei are the most agile. Zhao Guang's speed was commendable. Competing in speed? Zhao Feng's lips curled into a mocking smile. Whoosh! Zhao Guang's palm struck Zhao Feng, but his target disappeared right in front of his eyes. It was as if his palm had turned Zhao Feng into a vacuum. Not good, Zhao Guang had a bad feeling. Whoosh! Gasps came from below the stage. Many of the Zhao clan disciples were dumbfounded. Those with quick reflexes stared behind Zhao Guang. Raging Dragon Fist. Zhao Guang felt a gust of wind coming from behind, and he was shocked. Bam! Zhao Guang instinctively retaliated, barely managing to block Zhao Feng's Raging Dragon Fist. He felt an explosive force rushing towards him. Bam! Zhao Guang's body staggered, and he was pushed back a few meters, almost falling. What martial arts does he practice? His speed is even faster than mine. Zhao Guang's heart was in turmoil. Chapter 23. With just one move, the difference between Zhao Feng and Zhao Guang became apparent. Zhao Guang finally stabilized himself. He panicked and breathed heavily, unable to believe what he had just seen. Zhao Feng smiled calmly. He did not take advantage of the situation to attack. He had absolute confidence in his speed. Even a martial artist of the 4th rank of the martial path might not be able to beat him. In an instant, the battle between Zhao Feng and Zhao Guang became the focal point of all 10 arenas. After a short period of commotion, the crowd gradually calmed down. His speed is even faster than Zhao Guang's. Zhao Yu and Zhao Yufei, who were ranked in the top 3, were shocked. What a mysterious movement technique. On the viewing platform, some of the elders were also shocked. His movement technique is somewhat familiar. The head judge muttered to himself. He is practicing lightly floating fairy. There's no mistaking it. On the viewing platform, a martial artist took a deep breath and looked at Zhao Feng with a complicated expression. As it turned out, this clan's martial artist had also practiced the lightly floating fairy movement technique before. However, lightly floating fairy was too difficult, and it was incomplete. That was why he had given up after 1 or 2 years. His level of attainment was far below that of Zhao Feng. So it's lightly floating fairy. Some of the elders in the spectator stands came to a realization. To be able to train lightly floating fairy to such a level, he must be very perceptive. It's a pity. Some of the elders shook their heads regretfully after they exclaimed in admiration. Even though lightly floating fairy was a high-level martial art, it was still incomplete. Its potential was limited. Zhao Feng is making his move. Another wave of exclamations came from the crowd. Zhao Feng took the initiative to attack. His body was like a floating leaf, his speed terrifying. Zhao Guang tried his best, but he could not dodge Zhao Feng's attack. He could only take it head-on. Raging Dragon 5th move. Zhao Feng was using Raging Dragon fists. It was well known among the intermediate-level martial arts, and many people could recognize it. Bang! Pa! Qi! Zhao Feng's qi and blood surged like a long river, as if he had transformed into a raging dragon. His punches were accompanied by a deep roar, and his aura was astonishing. Zhao Guang felt a deep sense of pressure. The other party's qi, blood, and explosive power made it hard for him to breathe. With every punch, he took a step back, and even his internal organs were shaken. He was completely suppressed by Zhao Feng and had no strength to resist. In terms of speed, Zhao Feng easily beat him. In terms of martial arts power, Zhao Feng was also slightly better than him. Wow! After the eighth punch, Zhao Guang spat out a mouthful of blood and admitted defeat. Zhao Guang, who was ranked 5th, was defeated in less than 10 moves. Many people in the audience were dumbfounded. Even though he knew that Zhao Feng was strong enough to challenge the top 5, the result was far more shocking than he had expected. Zhao Feng's performance was not inferior to Zhao Yu and the others who were ranked in the top 3. This kid's comprehension is shocking. Not only did he train the basic fist technique to perfection, he even trained the Angry Dragon fist to its peak. Even without lightly floating fairy, with his peak mid-grade martial arts, his strength is still slightly better than Zhao Guang's. The elders and upper echelon in the spectator stands were knowledgeable. They were shocked and impressed by Zhao Feng's performance. On the sky martial field, the 10 dueling platforms were still in progress. After Zhao Feng defeated Zhao Guang, his momentum was close to that of Zhao Yijian and Zhao Yu. At this point in the competition, there were only 4 people who had a perfect winning record: Zhao Yu, Zhao Yijian, Zhao Yufei, and Zhao Feng. Suddenly, these 4 people became the top 4 of the sky martial field and were extremely popular. Zhao Feng. Zhao Feng. Amidst the loud cheers, Zhao Feng stepped onto the dueling platform again and again. Every time he stepped onto the platform, most of his opponents admitted defeat or finished him off in 2 or 3 moves. During this time, Zhao Feng even met Zhao Kun. "I admit defeat." Zhao Kun clenched his teeth. He wanted to find a hole to hide in. Based on the current situation, Zhao Feng's strength and popularity had surpassed his brother, Zhao Qian. He did not dare to embarrass himself anymore. The top 4 maintained a perfect winning record and advanced together. Many people were looking forward to the top 4 meeting. Finally, at the 60th win streak, the first-ranked Zhao Yu and the second-ranked Zhao Yijian met. Zhao Yu. Zhao Yu. Zhao Yijian. Zhao Yijian. Cheers erupted from the spectator stands. Many people were extremely excited. Zhao Feng and Zhao Yufei, who were not in the top 4, also showed their interest. Zhao Yu. After our defeat half a year ago, we finally meet again. Zhao Yijian took a deep breath. His eyes were full of confidence and fighting spirit. Among the outer circle of the family, Zhao Yu kept a low profile. He trained hard, but his foundation was the most stable. He had always been number 1. "Make your move. Let's see if your cold flowing sword or my iron shield is stronger." Zhao Yu's voice was steady and powerful. He was taller than Zhao Yijian. Swoosh! Zhao Yijian drew his sword out of its sheath. The cold light sliced through the air, forming a flickering cold current. It was shockingly fast and cold. As soon as the cold flowing sword was used, the air seemed to freeze. Even the spectators felt a strange chill. Iron shield palm. Zhao Yu's body was like a mountain, and his palm was like steel. He threw out a punch. The air howled, as if Mount Tai was pressing down on him. Clang! In the blink of an eye, the sword and the palm clashed. An ear-piercing sound shook the eardrums. The moment the two clashed, Zhao Yijian's body swayed. He took 2 steps back and then turned around, his sword piercing towards Zhao Yu's lower body. These two, one is steady and solid, the other is unconventional. Zhao Feng watched silently. Without a doubt, Zhao Yu and Zhao Yijian's strength could suppress a normal martial artist. If he had not cultivated inner strength, Zhao Feng would not be able to break through Zhao Yu's defense. He would not be able to block Zhao Yijian's terrifying attack with his bare fists. Clang, clang, bang, the battle between Zhao Yu and Zhao Yijian reached its climax. Zhao Yijian's sword attacks became faster and faster. The cold air and the sword light intertwined and enveloped Zhao Yu's body. Zhao Yu was neither fast nor slow. He took a deep breath and blocked all of Zhao Yijian's attacks. This was because he had cultivated a high-ranked body training martial art, Iron Dipper Body. If it was a normal martial path 3rd rank, he wouldn't even be able to block a single sword from the opponent. Zhao Yu's foundation is stable, his meridians are long, and he is good at defense. If Zhao Yijian cannot win in the time it takes to drink half a cup of tea, then there is no doubt who will win. The head judge said calmly. Hee, half a cup of tea. It won't take that long. The middle-aged martial artist, who was Zhao Yijian's father, smiled confidently. Oh. The head judge and the others were slightly surprised. At this moment, the situation changed. Whoosh! Zhao Yijian's hand danced in an arc of cold air, and the air was filled with the howling of a cold winter wind. The bone-chilling coldness and dense sharpness intertwined. Clang! Zhao Yu let out a groan. His steel-like arm was cut open, and he was forced to retreat. How can my Iron Dipper Body be broken? Zhao Yu's face was slightly pale. Iron Dipper Body was a defensive martial art that strengthened the body. After practicing it, one's skin and flesh would be like iron, and one's strength would be shocking. Coupled with the high-ranked martial art Iron Luo Fist, his defense and strength would reach a limit. He believed that no one under the 4th rank of the martial path would be able to break through his defense. High-ranked martial art, large success. The judge on the stage exclaimed. High-ranked martial art, large success. The nearby disciples of the Zhao clan sucked in a breath of cold air. Everyone knew that there were small success and large success in martial arts. It was not easy to train a high-ranked martial art to small success, and it was even more difficult to train it to large success. However, if a high-ranked martial art could be trained to large success, its power would increase by more than 50%. Cold Flowing Sword was a high-ranked martial art that had terrifying attacks. Once it was trained to small success, one would be comparable to a quasi-martial artist at the 3rd rank of the martial path. If it was trained to large success, it would be far more powerful than a quasi-martial artist, and it could even threaten a real martial artist. High-ranked martial art, so that's how it is. Congratulations, Zhao Tianjian, for having such a talented son. The head judge smiled at the middle-aged martial artist beside him. Zhao Tianjian was Zhao Yijian's father. Thank you, elder. Zhao Tianjian was flattered. The head judge was an elder of the clan, and even he, as a martial artist, had to respect him. On the stage. Cold Flowing Sword. Zhao Yijian took advantage of the situation to chase after Zhao Yu. His treasured sword moved at an even faster speed, and with the cold flowing sword, he forced Zhao Yu into a dangerous situation. Puff! The clothes in front of Zhao Yu's chest were torn, and blood spurted out as he retreated. Zhao Yijian wins. The head judge decisively announced the winner. High-ranked martial art at large success, and it is the cold flowing sword that specializes in speed. I have no regrets losing. Zhao Yu let out a long sigh, and his eyes dimmed as he walked off the stage. After defeating Zhao Yu, Zhao Yijian's popularity was unstoppable. Zhao Yijian! Zhao Yijian! The cheers from below the stage continued, attracting the admiration of many youths, and the admiration of some girls. At the moment of victory, Zhao Yijian was like the king of the outer disciples, and many outer disciples were convinced. Zhao Yijian looked around the stage, and his gaze suddenly fell on Zhao Feng, and a cold smile appeared on his face. Brother Jian. Zhao Shui's face was flushed, and she was a little excited as she walked up to him. At the moment, Zhao Yijian's powerful strength made her completely relax. There was no way that she would lose to that person. At the same time, Zhao Shui secretly glanced at Zhao Feng. Zhao Feng was expressionless, and he was unmoved. The competition was still going on, and there were only 3 people left with perfect winning records: Zhao Yijian, Zhao Yufei, and Zhao Feng. However, the audience did not have much expectation and suspense anymore. In the eyes of the audience, Zhao Yijian was already the unshakable king of the outer disciples, and even among the inner disciples, he would be ranked at the top. High-ranked martial art at large success. Zhao Feng murmured in his heart, but his face was still calm. His perfect winning record was still going on, 60 wins in a row, 61 wins in a row, but in the ranking competition, it was inevitable that he would meet Zhao Yijian. Finally, on the 69th win, Zhao Feng walked onto the stage, and he saw a cold youth in purple with straight eyebrows. It was Zhao Yijian. When the two met, many people's eyes were on them, and the stage was inexplicably quiet. After all, Zhao Feng was also one of the 3 who had a perfect winning record. Zhao Feng. Don't tell me you will also admit defeat. Zhao Yijian had a disdainful look on his face as he sneered. In his eyes, the only opponent in the outer disciples was Zhao Yu, and the others were just supporting characters. Chapter 24. Facing Zhao Yijian's mockery, Zhao Feng sneered without saying a word. People like Zhao Yijian indeed had strength, but he was arrogant and liked to look down on others. Therefore, he didn't want to waste time talking, he just wanted to prove it with his actions. Although Zhao Feng didn't say anything, his expression of being too lazy to respond still made Zhao Yijian unhappy and angry. Some of the spectators were slightly stunned. Zhao Yijian was already arrogant enough, but Zhao Feng's disdainful expression was even more lethal. "Kid, if you don't say anything, I'll force you to speak." Zhao Yijian's eyes were cold and gloomy. Xiu xiu. The sword in his hand drew a cold current, its speed was extremely fast, and in the blink of an eye, it stabbed in front of Zhao Feng. Zhao Yijian's first move was cold flowing sword. Although he was arrogant, he had noticed that Zhao Feng had the strength of a quasi-martial artist, and he didn't look down on his opponent as much as he seemed. As soon as Zhao Yijian used his sword, Zhao Feng felt a bone-piercing chill, and his skin turned cold. Puchi. A cold current swept past Zhao Feng's shoulder at the risk of half an inch. What a tricky sword art. It's so fast that I can only see its afterimage. Zhao Feng dodged the sword, and his heart trembled. If he only had the strength of a quasi-martial artist, it would be impossible for him to fight against Zhao Yijian who had mastered cold-flowing sword. Zhao Feng didn't think that his defense was stronger than Zhao Yu's. Whoosh! He leaped up, and like a falling leaf, he jumped on the stage, distancing himself from Zhao Yijian. Indeed, in terms of attack power, Zhao Feng couldn't fight against cold-flowing sword, unless he was like Zhao Yu and practiced a high-level body-strengthening martial art. Where are you running to? Zhao Yijian's face was shrouded in coldness. He leaped into the air and actually used cold-flowing sword in midair. No matter how Zhao Feng tried to dodge, the cold current continued to lock onto him. As expected of a high-ranked martial art with large success. Zhao Feng knew that the peak level of the angry dragon fists would not be able to withstand Zhao Yijian's cold-flowing sword. Cold waterfall. The sword move in Zhao Yijian's hand suddenly changed, and the momentum of the sword rose sharply. The cold stream of sword shadows seemed to have transformed into an icy cold waterfall that swept towards the area where Zhao Feng was standing. Not good. Zhao Feng was in midair. Once he landed on the ground, it would be hard for him to dodge Zhao Yijian's AoE attack. What a cold-flowing sword. Those below the 4th stage of the martial path can already use area of effect attacks. Looks like the outcome has been decided. Some of the seniors in the spectator stands cheered, praising Zhao Yijian. Get down here. Zhao Yijian's cold waterfall was filled with a violent sword light. The cold intent wreaked havoc as it swept towards Zhao Feng's lower body. Lightly floating space. Zhao Feng's eyes were like lightning. He took a deep breath and compressed the blood in his body. His body that was in midair suddenly gained strength. Tang! His body broke free from the restrictions of gravity, and he actually leaped twice in midair, dodging Zhao Yijian's attack. How? How was this possible? Zhao Yijian's attack missed. His face was blank as he watched Zhao Feng, floating space, step in midair, easily dodging the danger. What a good Zhao Feng! To be able to train lightly floating fairy to such a level. The head judge stroked his white beard, his eyes shining brightly. Lightly floating space. This is indeed a movement technique from lightly floating fairy. How did he do it? The martial artist who had trained lightly floating fairy stood up, his face full of shock. On the battling platform, Zhao Yijian and Zhao Feng, one chasing and the other escaping, were extremely dangerous. Seeing that Zhao Yijian's cold-flowing sword had reached the high level, his speed and power had increased greatly. Zhao Feng was not bad either. Lightly floating fairy made his body as light as a feather. Although it looked like he was about to die, he was actually very relaxed. Time passed slowly. As Zhao Feng dodged, he searched for Zhao Yijian's weakness and counterattacked. But he suddenly realized that he could not even get close to Zhao Yijian, or else he would face a terrifying killing move. The angry dragon fists that he had learnt so far could not directly take a blow from his opponent. Even if he took one blow, he would be injured. Do I really have to use? Zhao Feng took a deep breath, and the inner strength in his body slightly moved, then disappeared. Relying on the qi concealing technique, he was able to conceal his inner strength. As he dodged, Zhao Feng suddenly focused his energy and activated the ability of his left eye. Pang pang. Pang pang. The moment his left eye activated, Zhao Feng entered a supervision interface. Although Zhao Yijian's speed was fast, but in his eyes, it slowed down, and he could see everything clearly. He could even see the changes in Zhao Yijian's body, and through the flow of his blood, he could predict where he would attack next. Tang! Tang! Zhao Feng dodged even more easily, and he was in an invincible position. Angry dragon fists. At a certain moment, Zhao Feng dodged a blow, and suddenly closed in, attacking Zhao Yijian. Cold flowing wind. The sword in Zhao Yijian's hand suddenly turned, and without dodging or defending, it pierced towards Zhao Feng's throat. Zhao Feng felt helpless. Although he could find a chance to injure Zhao Yijian, but if he did that, he would not be able to dodge the other's sword. Cold flowing sword is too extreme, it only has offense, and no defense. The most troublesome thing is that he has trained this martial art to the high level, so there are very few flaws. I only have a 50% chance of winning. In Zhao Feng's mind, he calculated and analyzed. The biggest difference between him and Zhao Yijian was the level of martial arts. At this point, to win against Zhao Yijian, there were only two ways. The first was to drag it out, drag it out, drag it out, drag it out until the opponent is exhausted. Regarding this, Zhao Feng was confident, he had the help of his left eye, and he had trained inner strength, so he could last longer than Zhao Yijian. The second was to use inner strength, and win by force. Just as Zhao Feng was calculating in his mind. Judge, the two people on the stage are both talents, if this drags on for too long, there will be casualties, you can't afford to waste time. Zhao Tianjian walked to the stage and said to the judge in a low voice. Looking at the battle on the stage, Zhao Tianjian was worried for his son, Zhao Yijian. Normally, even if he dragged it out, Zhao Yijian had at least a 50 to 60% chance of winning, but he didn't know why, but he had an uneasy feeling that he couldn't drag it out. But there is no clear winner yet. The judge hesitated, but he didn't want to offend Zhao Tianjian. Zhao Tianjian's cultivation had reached the 6th rank of the martial path, and his status was not low. The winner is not clear, but who has the upper hand, can't you see? Zhao Tianjian faintly smiled, and at the same time, signaled the judge with his eyes. His meaning was clear: if this matter succeeds, there will be great rewards. Fine. The judge looked at the stage and said in a low voice, Number 188 Zhao Feng, you are at a disadvantage. If you continue to drag it out, I have the right to make a decision. That's possible. Zhao Feng's heart was filled with anger. The judge's decision was obviously leaning towards Zhao Yijian. However, the judge didn't go against the rules, because the rules of the competition gave the judge the right to make a decision. For example, if it was a close fight, the judge could make a decision on his own to not delay the progress of the competition. The judge's decision naturally caused some people to argue. Although Zhao Feng is in a passive position, at least he isn't losing. Humph. What kind of hero is he if he keeps dodging? He's wasting our time. The judge is right. There was only a small dispute. Although some of the elders felt that it was unfair, no one was willing to stand up for a branch family disciple, and there was no need to offend Zhao Tianjian and his son. Fine. I won't dodge then. Zhao Feng didn't get angry, instead, he smiled and floated down. Kid. Take my sword. Zhao Yijian rejoiced in his heart and looked gratefully at his father. Zhao Tianjian stood with his hands behind his back, smiling. At this moment, many people, such as Zhao Kun and the other disciples, had gloating expressions. Zhao Shui looked at the familiar figure on the stage and sighed inwardly. Her expression was complicated, with a trace of pity and a trace of coldness. Zhao Yijian's cold flowing sword was like the winter wind, piercing to the bone as it approached Zhao Feng. Facing the sword of a high-ranked martial art, Zhao Feng didn't dodge. Angry Dragon Fist. The anger in Zhao Feng's heart flowed like a river and merged into his fist. You don't know what's good for you. Some of the elders couldn't help but shake their heads. Sigh. The white-bearded judge also sighed. Ha ha ha. A mantis trying to stop a chariot, it's useless, break. Zhao Yijian laughed and waved his sword. It was like a cold rainbow in the night sky, sharp to the eyes. Open. Zhao Feng took a deep breath, and a powerful aura burst out from his body. Hu, a layer of light green aura surged on Zhao Feng's arm and fist. It was beautiful and transparent, faintly discernible under the sunlight. Suddenly, Zhao Feng felt that the speed and power of his punch had broken through a limit, breaking the limits of his body. Before the fist could even reach Zhao Yijian, a formless gust of wind hit him. Whoosh! With Zhao Feng as the center, the dust particles around him were shaken and floated into the air. What? That's... Some of the elders on the stage were shocked. The judge stood up, unable to suppress the excitement on his face. Not good. Zhao Tianjian's expression changed drastically. What's going on? Zhao Yijian felt an inexplicable pressure, and he found it hard to breathe. He was being suppressed by an unknown force, and even the speed of his sword was greatly restricted. In his eyes, Zhao Feng's fist seemed to be accompanied by a roaring storm dragon. Dang! Crack! Zhao Yijian's body shook, and he spat out a mouthful of blood. Clang! The sword in his hand broke into two pieces, and they fell to the ground. Moreover, there was an invisible force that flowed into his body through the sword. Ah! Zhao Yijian let out a cry of pain. His arm was broken, and he was sent flying a dozen meters away before he fell to the ground. Such a scene shocked the disciples of the Zhao clan. As soon as Zhao Feng finished his punch, the invisible force spread in all directions, and the surrounding dust particles slowly fell to the ground. After a while, someone shouted, "Martial Path Inner Force! Martial Path Inner Force!" A light green aura flashed across Zhao Feng's body. Chapter 25. Inner Force. Hiss. Gasps of surprise spread to every corner of the sky martial field. The disciples of the Zhao clan, the judge, the elders were all shocked. On the stage, the white-bearded judge stood up excitedly. To be able to comprehend inner strength at the age of 14, the position of a martial artist is within reach. With this kind of talent, he will definitely be the next Zhao Linlong. Everyone's eyes were on Zhao Feng, the new king of the outer disciples. Zhao Feng looked at his own fist in disbelief. He could only watch as Zhao Yijian flew out, his arm broken, and his sword broken in half. He had held back a little in his punch just now. When he broke Zhao Yijian's sword, he had forcefully retracted some of his inner strength. Otherwise, Zhao Yijian's injury wouldn't just be a broken arm. At the very least, his entire arm would be crippled. If it was a normal third-rank martial path cultivator, his internal organs would have been shattered and he would have died on the spot. So this is the power of inner force. Zhao Feng's heart trembled. Around the stage, some of the Zhao sect disciples were shocked and fearful. They finally understood the difference between a martial disciple and a martial artist. Zhao Feng wins. Only now did the judge react. He gave Zhao Feng a deep glance and made his decision. Even though he was biased towards Zhao Yijian, Zhao Feng still won. Not only did he win, but he also shocked the outer disciples with his absolute strength. In the face of absolute strength, no matter how unfair it was, it would not be able to stop him. Jian, Zhao Tianjian roared and a cold aura surged from his body. With a swoosh, he appeared in front of Zhao Yijian. His speed was so fast that the people around him only saw a blur. So fast. Zhao Feng estimated that Zhao Yijian's father's strength had reached the 6th rank of the martial path. The 6th level of the martial Dao was already the peak of the ordinary martial artist realm. One more step and he would be able to reach the level of a martial Dao master. I lost. Zhao Yijian was in unbearable pain. He broke out in a cold sweat and lost all feeling in his arm. Come quickly, apothecary. Zhao Tianjian roared with all his might. Looking at his son's injuries, that arm might even be crippled. Junior. It's just a competition, yet you're so heavy-handed. What are your intentions? Zhao Tianjian's face was cold, his eyes flickering with killing intent as he stared at Zhao Feng. The terrifying aura of the 6th stage of the martial path, under the effect of his powerful aura and inner strength, formed an invisible pressure. Zhao Feng's body swayed. His qi, blood, and breathing seemed to freeze. Even speaking took a great deal of effort. Fortunately, he had the inner strength of the martial path. He activated the light green aura in his body and used his tenacious will to resist. Thump. Thump. His left eye throbbed. In the pitch-black space, the spiral halo slowly extended. From the 3'9" foundation, it continued to expand, infinitely approaching 4 feet. Under the unprecedented pressure, Zhao Feng's energy and potential were further squeezed out. Great! I now have all the conditions to break through to the 4th rank of the martial path. Zhao Feng was overjoyed. After the previous battle, he was now under pressure from Zhao Tianjian, which had actually helped him improve. The subtle changes in his body naturally did not escape Zhao Tianjian's eyes. This kid couldn't be left alive. Zhao Tianjian felt a hidden sense of danger. A cold light flashed in his eyes. Junior, you're just a branch family disciple. How dare you injure my son's arm? I'll cripple your cultivation. Whoosh! In a blur, Zhao Tianjian pounced on Zhao Feng. Not good. Zhao Feng felt a great sense of danger pressing down on him. Fortunately, he was wary of Zhao Tianjian, and his left eye locked onto him. In the instant that Zhao Tianjian's qi and blood were activated, he predicted his opponent's direction of attack. Tang! Without thinking, Zhao Feng pushed lightly floating fairy to the limit. His body leapt 10 meters into the air, barely dodging the attack. However, he understood that he only had one chance to dodge when facing a powerful martial artist of the 6th stage of the martial Dao. Zhao Tianjian's attack missed, and he knew that something was wrong. He roared in anger, "Die!" He also used his body lightning technique, leaping into the air and grabbing at Zhao Feng. Lightly floating fairy. Zhao Feng used his second life force in midair, leaping into the air towards the higher-ups of the clan. Because he knew that Zhao Tianjian was only one of the higher-ups of the clan. The elders present would definitely not allow him to do as he pleased. Whoosh! Zhao Feng barely dodged Zhao Tianjian's attack, and floated towards the platform. Damn! This kid! Zhao Tianjian understood Zhao Feng's intentions. Zhao Tianjian, stop! A thunderous voice descended from the sky. As the voice spoke, an extremely powerful aura came from above his head. An elder with a white beard floated above Zhao Tianjian's head like a feather. Not good. It was the head judge. Zhao Tianjian felt a great deal of pressure. He was facing an elder of the clan, a master of the 7th rank of the martial path. But Zhao Feng was right in front of him. His heart was filled with unwillingness, and he clenched his teeth. Get down! A majestic and angry voice came from above him. The head judge did not come close, but a transparent white aura turned into an invisible palm and slammed down. Pa! Zhao Tianjian's inner qi dissipated, and he spat out a mouthful of blood. He fell to the ground, sprawled on the ground. Attacking someone through the air, what a terrifying technique. The crowd was silent. It was obvious that the head judge had trained his inner qi to the transcendent realm, and he could kill a normal martial artist with a flick of his finger. Elder! This Zhao Feng is ruthless, and he almost broke my son's arm. How can I let him go so easily? Zhao Tianjian half knelt on the ground, filled with fear and unwillingness. Humph! Who is the ruthless one here? When Zhao Feng attacked, he had already retracted part of his inner qi. If not, Zhao Yijian's arm would have been crippled, and his life would have been in danger. The white-bearded head judge's eyes were burning. Zhao Tianjian was speechless. Why aren't you saving your son? The white-bearded judge waved his robe, and his body floated back to the stage. The disturbance was temporarily calmed down. Zhao Feng wiped the cold sweat off his forehead, and he looked at the white-bearded head judge with gratitude. The head judge seemed to have sensed his gaze, and he smiled gently as he nodded his head in approval. This interlude did not affect the ranking competition. After defeating Zhao Yijian, Zhao Feng became the king of the outer disciples. He actually defeated Zhao Yijian. Zhao Shui, who was in the corner, had a stiff expression on her face. She felt as if the world was spinning. From extreme joy to extreme sorrow, she felt as if she had fallen from heaven to hell. In her field of vision, that familiar figure had become the focus of everyone's attention. Everything seemed to have returned to the beginning of the Green Leaf Village. That youth, with his identity as a genius, had stood proudly in the Zhao family, and he had become the number one person among his peers. Now that he had reached a new starting point, Zhao Feng had become the number one person among the outer disciples of the Zhao family. 70 consecutive wins, 71 consecutive wins, Zhao Feng's battle record was being updated. His opponents basically admitted defeat straight away. Zhao Yu, Zhao Qian, and other strong opponents had all lost to him. Even when facing Zhao Yu, Zhao Feng's inner qi could immediately break through his opponent's iron dipper body. Zhao Feng's strength was no longer that of a quasi-martial artist, but a half-step martial artist. Half-step martial artists possessed inner qi on the basis of a quasi-martial artist. To a certain extent, there was no difference between a quasi-martial artist and a quasi-martial artist. However, in the competition, there was still an anomaly. Zhao Yufei also maintained her perfect win record. On Zhao Yufei's 80th consecutive win, she met Zhao Yu, who was originally the number one outer disciple. Butterfly leaf palm. Zhao Yufei shouted in a tender voice. Her jade-like small hand shook, and a light green transparent aura surged out of her blood. Crack! Zhao Yu's iron dipper body was broken once again. "Oh my god, it's inner chi again!" Exclamations came from the crowd. No one would have thought that other than Zhao Feng, there would be a second person who had comprehended inner chi. Interesting, interesting. A smile appeared on the head judge's face. Seeing that Zhao Yufei had comprehended inner chi, Zhao Feng's expression did not change at all. When he was watching the competition, his left eye had already sensed the inner chi hidden in Zhao Yufei's blood. That day at the martial arts field, after the head teacher's explanation of inner chi, the top few outer disciples all had comprehended it. Among them, Zhao Feng had comprehended the most. This was because he had the help of his left eye and the foundation of the third stage of the air-pushing manual. Therefore, Zhao Feng was the first to comprehend inner chi. In comparison, Zhao Yufei was half a month behind him. It seems like the winner of the first place is still unknown. The crowd of Zhao clan disciples were filled with excitement and anticipation. As they wished, Zhao Feng and Zhao Yufei met on their 90th consecutive win. Let's begin. Zhao Feng's expression did not change. Although Zhao Yufei had comprehended inner chi, he was not afraid. Although I know the difference between us, I will not give up. A smile bloomed on Zhao Yufei's face, like a blooming lotus. Angry Dragon Fist. Zhao Feng's first move was the peak-level Angry Dragon Fist. Before, the reason why he could beat Zhao Yijian up so badly was not only because of the inner chi. Angry Dragon Fist was already at the peak of the intermediate level, and its explosive power was shocking. The peak-level Angry Dragon Fist's power was stronger than a low-level high-level martial art, and was even close to a high-level martial art. At this time, after Zhao Feng had experienced Zhao Tianjian's pressure, his potential was stimulated, and his Angry Dragon Fist was getting closer to the peak level. If he could train Angry Dragon Fist to the peak level, he could even win against the high-level cold flowing sword. Bang! Pa! Zhao Feng and Zhao Yufei's fists and palms clashed, and the latter kept on retreating. As expected, in a head-on clash, Zhao Yufei was not as good as Zhao Feng. Zhao Feng had comprehended inner chi first, so it was more powerful. Moreover, the inner chi formed by air crossing was even more unique. It was fast, elegant, and unconstrained. Even though Zhao Yufei had trained in a high-level footwork, she could not stop Zhao Feng from moving faster with lightly floating fairy. Zhao Feng's attacks were getting faster and faster. Zhao Yufei's breathing quickened, and her face turned red. She could not hold on any longer, and her movements became sluggish. Good chance. Zhao Feng's left eye immediately locked onto an opening, and his fist brushed past Zhao Yufei's shoulder. Pa! Zhao Yufei's body swayed, and she floated backwards. She somersaulted in the air and landed on the ground. Thank you for showing mercy. Zhao Yufei's eyes were filled with gratitude, and her face was still red. Zhao Feng had not used his full strength in that punch, or else her ending wouldn't be any better than Zhao Yijian. Thanks for letting me win. Zhao Feng nodded with a smile. He admired Zhao Yufei's style. After defeating Zhao Yufei, Zhao Feng had no more opponents in the ranking competition, and all his opponents had admitted defeat. I admit defeat. I give up. An hour later. Zhao Feng had won 99 times in a row, and his points were the highest. Chapter 26. After the 100-win streak, Zhao Feng's popularity in the heaven martial arts arena had reached a peak. Zhao Feng! Zhao Feng! Many shouts came from the crowd. Zhao Feng's rise had attracted the admiration of many young people of his age. He deserved to be the top outer disciple. Wherever Zhao Feng passed, the crowd automatically made way for him. The outer disciples nearby were in awe and even worship. Even Zhao Kuan, who had repeatedly opposed him in the past, lowered his head and dared not have any thoughts. When did you provoke such a monster? Zhao Qian had a strange expression as he glanced at his brother, Zhao Kuan. How did I know he would become so strong? Zhao Kun even wanted to cry. Zhao Feng slowly walked through the crowd, his eyes scanning his surroundings. At a certain moment, his eyes met the figure of a girl in a white robe. Zhao Xue's expression was gloomy. She bit her red lips and did not dare to look at Zhao Feng's eyes. Zhao Feng shook his head. Ever since he entered the Zhao family, he and Zhao Xue had been strangers. He did not insist on anything. His ambition was to reach the 9th level of the martial path Sage Realm, and the boundless continent. Then, Zhao Feng began to wait for the end of the ranking competition. The ranking competition was coming to an end. At least the first place had been determined. This was because apart from Zhao Feng, no one else had ever achieved complete victories. Everyone had more or less been defeated. As time passed, the rankings of the ranking tournament gradually settled down. First place, Zhao Feng. Second place, Zhao Yufei. Third place, Zhao Yue. Fourth place, Zhao Qian. It was not until the 9th place that Zhao Yijian's name appeared. Because Zhao Yijian had been seriously injured in the confrontation with Zhao Feng, he did not participate in the following battles. First place. Zhao Feng's mind trembled slightly. After confirming the results, he was still a little excited. 2 months ago, he only prayed to be able to participate in the clan's martial meet, even if it was just to show his face in the outer rings preliminaries. As for first place, he had never thought about it before. And the thing that changed all this fate was that mysterious fused eye. Zhao Feng took a deep breath and closed his eyes. His consciousness entered a pitch-black space. The pale green spiral halo slowly extended and revolved, mysterious and mysterious. The spiral halo had already extended to 3 feet and 99, and was even about to reach 4 feet. Zhao Feng understood that the longer the spiral halo grew, the stronger his left eye would become. As for what form it would evolve into in the future, it was not something he could predict. When the rankings were announced one by one, the preliminaries finally came to an end. In a corner of the Heaven Martial Arts Arena. There are a few outstanding people among this batch of outer disciples. Especially Zhao Feng and Zhao Yufei, they may be able to catch up with Zhao Linlong in the future. The one who spoke was a graceful and elegant young lady. She was beautiful and very quiet. She was the inner disciple who was ranked 4th, Zhao Qin. Since the start of the outer disciples' martial meet, only Zhao Qin had seen it from start to finish. Hee, it's just a small fight. A casual voice came from a black-robed young man beside her. The black-robed young man and Zhao Qin stood shoulder to shoulder, lazily watching the Sky Martial Field's outer disciples' martial meet. I always feel that Zhao Feng is not simple. He was previously hiding his inner strength, and even I could not see it. And his light body technique, in the inner disciples, is at least in the top 3. Zhao Qin had a look of deep thought. Do you think he can threaten us? I only have one opponent, and that is Zhao Linlong. The black-robed young man's voice had a condescending tone. Zhao Qi, don't be careless. The third-ranked, Zhao Han, has been in closed-door training for the past few months, and I'm afraid he has made a lot of progress. Zhao Qin smiled mischievously. Zhao Han. Why do I remember that he has a cousin called Zhao Yijian? The black-robed young man's eyes turned and looked at Zhao Feng, who was the focus of the crowd. Zhao Feng, who was in the crowd, suddenly had an inexplicable feeling, and he turned around to look at a certain direction. In the corner, stood a quiet girl and a lazy black-robed young man. Zhao Feng recognized the quiet girl. She was ranked 4th, Zhao Qin. As for the lazy black-robed young man, oh my god. It's Zhao Qi. Zhao Qi. He is ranked 2nd in the inner disciples, just below Zhao Linlong. Exclamations came from the crowd. Even some of the inner disciples had fear in their eyes when they looked at Zhao Qi from afar. Zhao Feng's eyes met with Zhao Qi's. The moment their eyes met, Zhao Feng felt an invisible pressure. This was especially so when his left eye locked onto Zhao Qi. There was a feeling that Zhao Qi was invincible. Zhao Qi's body was well proportioned, and he was neither fat nor skinny. His blood and inner strength were evenly distributed throughout his body, and he gave off an explosive power. Peak of the 4th rank of the martial path. His strength is probably even higher than Zhao Qin's. Zhao Feng's left eye was extremely sensitive, and he could accurately judge the strength of others. They were both at the 4th rank of the martial path, but Zhao Qi was stronger. A normal 3rd rank of the martial path might not even be able to block one move from a quasi-martial artist. I heard that before Zhao Qi reached the 4th rank of the martial path, he was able to defeat a true martial artist with the strength of a half-step martial artist. Who would have thought that he would come to the outer disciples' gathering? The disciples nearby discussed in low voices, talking about Zhao Qi's past glory. Zhao Qi and Zhao Qin didn't stay, and they left one after the other. From her reaction, it could be seen that Zhao Qin was sizing up Zhao Feng from time to time. As for Zhao Qi, he only glanced at Zhao Feng casually, and then looked at Zhao Yufei with interest. Zhao Feng's emotions fluctuated slightly, but he soon calmed down. Although he was the top outer disciple, there was still a huge gap between him and some of the top inner disciples. At least, Zhao Qin, Zhao Qi, and the others were all true martial artists of the 4th rank of the martial path, and their martial arts were definitely better than the outer disciples. When night fell, the outer disciples' gathering finally came to an end. During the outer disciple martial meet, the inner disciples had all come to watch. It was said that 2nd place Zhao Qi and 3rd place Zhao Han had both appeared. There was only one person who had not shown himself from start to finish. That person was Zhao Linlong, one of the 4 great geniuses of Sun Feather City. As for this, Zhao Feng had heard the discussions of the disciples on his way back. With my current strength, I can easily get 1st place in the outer disciples' gathering. But if it's the inner disciples? Zhao Feng's face was solemn. Every inner disciple was the focus of the family. Looking at the current situation, Zhao Feng could easily get into the top 10, and he even had a chance of getting into the top 5. But if it was the top 3, his chances were slim. Should he fight for 1st or top 3 in half a month's time? Zhao Feng's eyes flickered. The moment he thought about it, he quickly made a decision. Fight. He had to fight. He clearly remembered the rewards of the family's gathering. Only the top 3 disciples would have the chance to choose a peak-ranked martial art. Peak-ranked martial art. This was the highest-ranked martial art in the mortal world. A peak-ranked martial art could be trained to the 9th rank of the martial path, and only the legendary holy-ranked martial arts could surpass it. If Zhao Feng wanted to survive in this world, he had to increase his strength, and a high-ranked martial art was a must. 1st, or top 3. After confirming his goal, Zhao Feng slowly walked back home. When he got home, he found that the courtyard was brightly lit, and there were many people visiting. His father, Zhao Tianyang, and the Zhao clan were extremely busy. The usually quiet house was now full of guests. Brother Tianyang, congratulations on having such a good son. 1st in the outer disciples, and he has cultivated inner strength. He will definitely be the focus of the family in the future. Some of the guests were enthusiastic, and when they saw Zhao Feng return, they praised him. Zhao Feng frowned slightly, not used to it. Many of these so-called guests were relatives and neighbors, and they usually looked down on his family, and even had conflicts with them, so their relationship was not good. But today, these people all came to visit at the same time. The 3 members of the Zhao family were busy, and they finally sent these people away. It was not until late at night that Zhao Feng had time to talk to his parents. Inner strength? Half-step martial artist. Feng you really know how to hide, and gave me a big surprise today. Zhao Tianyang's face was red. During the family's martial gathering, not everyone could enter the sky martial field. So, Zhao Tianyang could only watch from afar and ask around. When they found out that their son had won first place, Zhao Feng's parents almost doubted their ears. My Feng heir, when did he become so powerful? The Zhao clan was a little suspicious. Parents knew their child's ability the best. Ever since I was struck by lightning, I feel that my mind has become more sensitive, and cultivating martial arts has become much easier than before. Zhao Feng could only give a half-truth and half-lie explanation. His explanation made sense. The world was big and full of wonders. Not every legendary person was born with extraordinary talent. This was also related to the opportunities they had after birth. Furthermore, Zhao Feng's fate changed when he was struck by lightning. Hearing this explanation, his parents did not doubt him. That night, Zhao Feng did not sleep, but closed his eyes and recalled the process of participating in the Outer Disciples' martial gathering. In his mind, a few important scenes appeared. During the Outer Disciples' martial gathering, Zhao Feng would occasionally use his left eye, and the scenes of the competition, including every detail, seemed to be imprinted in his mind. This included Zhao Yu, Zhao Yijian, Zhao Yufei and other strong opponents. Other than that, there were also details of Zhao Tianjian, the judge and other martial arts experts' attacks. Of course, things that exceeded his level were hard to analyze. Even so, Zhao Feng had benefited a lot. He closed his eyes and assimilated these insights. At a certain moment, he suddenly turned into a black shadow, broke through the window, and came to a wasteland in the clan. Ha! Ha! Zhao Feng's eyes were closed, his fists and palms moved without any pattern, including flaming metal fist and angry dragon fist. After that, his fists and palms had a style similar to Zhao Yijian, Zhao Yu, Zhao Yufei and other strong opponents. Hu Peng, Zhao Feng's moves became faster and faster, and in the end, he faintly released his inner strength. At this time, his consciousness came into contact with the faint green spiraling halo in the pitch-black space, from fast to slow, continuously spinning, from 3 feet 9 it continued to extend. At the last moment, the scene of him being pressured by Zhao Tianjian appeared in his mind. Bang! Zhao Feng shouted, his inner strength began to circulate in his body. Every time he struck out with his palm, there would be a low hum, the power of his palm increasing. An hour later, when Zhao Feng was about to be completely exhausted, Zhao Feng suddenly stopped. Bang! Zhao Feng's entire body felt spasms, the inner strength in his body flowed through his blood and limbs, as though it was boiling. A warm feeling flowed through his entire body. At the same time, a layer of sweat and dirt flowed out of his body. Success! A hint of excitement flashed in Zhao Feng's eyes. In the pitch-black space, the faint green spiraling halo had broken through from 3 feet 9 to 4 feet. At this moment, Zhao Feng's inner strength and physique had reached the 4th rank of the martial path. As he breathed, he could feel the powerful strength in his flesh and blood. With just a thought, the inner strength of martial arts would rush out from his blood and qi. My strength has increased to around 500 kilograms, and the strength of my inner strength has doubled. Through his left eye, Zhao Feng saw all the changes in his body, the excitement in his eyes could not be suppressed. Chapter 27. The 9 ranks of the martial path were extremely difficult. Once one stepped into the 4th rank of the martial path, they would leave the lowest rank and become a true martial artist. This was like a carp leaping through the dragon's gate. A true martial artist, placed in any place in the Cloud Nation, in any power, would be able to enjoy extremely high treatment. On this continent, how many martial disciples were unable to cross this threshold? To Zhao Feng, becoming a martial artist was a dream that he had to fight for a long time. And now, this goal had been achieved so quickly. Breaking through to the 4th rank of the martial path was completely within Zhao Feng's expectations, but it was even faster than he had imagined. A few days before the Outer Disciples tournament, Zhao Feng had already tried to break through to the fourth rank of the martial path. At that time, he felt that he was still lacking, but because he was afraid that his foundation would be unstable, he did not force it. But after participating in the Outer Disciples tournament, Zhao Feng had experienced many battles and fought against many strong opponents, which greatly improved his body. If it was just this alone, it would not have been enough for Zhao Feng to break through to the fourth rank of the martial path so quickly. I really have to thank Zhao Yijian's father. Zhao Feng's lips curled into a mocking smile. During the day, he had defeated Zhao Yijian, which caused his father Zhao Tianjian to feel pressured and wanted to kill him. Enduring the pressure of the sixth rank of the martial path had stimulated Zhao Feng's potential and the power of his left eye, allowing him to become a martial artist. Under that stimulation, Zhao Feng's peak angry dragon fists had almost reached the max level. This could be said to be a great help. Zhao Tianjian had gone for wool and come home shorn, he was probably depressed to death. That Zhao Tianjian must have developed malicious thoughts and killing intent towards me. Zhao Feng was secretly on guard. Because of this, Zhao Feng decided to hide the fact that he had broken through to the fourth rank of the martial path. He also used the hiding air technique to hide his cultivation at the peak of the third rank of the martial path, and his inner strength was also faintly discernible. On the surface, Zhao Feng was at most a half-step martial artist. After breaking through to the fourth rank of the martial path, Zhao Feng's priority was to consolidate his cultivation. In the past few months, his cultivation had progressed at an astonishing rate. While consolidating his cultivation, he began to combine what he had learned in his mind. This time, he used his left eye to comprehend the scenes from the match and repeatedly simulated angry dragon fist. After the tempering of the Outer Disciples martial meet, in addition to the stimulation from Zhao Tianjian's pressure, Zhao Feng's angry dragon fists was close to perfection. If I can cultivate the angry dragon fist to consummation, even if I encounter a high-ranked martial art at great perfection, I will be able to suppress him. Zhao Feng thought to himself. However, the realm of martial arts depended on a mysterious understanding, which belonged to the spiritual level. In just a few hours, although Zhao Feng gained some comprehension, he could not immediately push his angry dragon fist to consummation. However, Xiao Chen was confident that he would only need a few days to perfect the angry dragon fist to perfection. Before dawn, Zhao Feng turned into a blur and returned home. On the way, he secretly activated his left eye, and the night became as bright as day. With his left eye's vision, he could clearly see everything within a 6-7 mile radius. If it was during the day, this range would at least double. The upgrade of his left eye gave him the biggest changes in his vision, reaction, comprehension, and mental energy. The last, mental energy, was something that even Zhao Feng could not understand. Simply put, it meant that his brain was full of energy. Even if he were to think for a day and night, he would not feel tired. The next morning, Zhao Feng was still meditating on his bed, and did not sleep. Because of the upgrade of his left eye, his energy was even more vigorous, and he did not need to sleep much. He could definitely train for 2 days straight, and rest for a few hours. This way, Zhao Feng would have more time to train, especially in terms of accumulating inner strength. Is this Zhao Feng's house? A clear voice came from outside. Who is it? His mother, the Zhao clan, went out to open the door. A luxuriously dressed middle-aged man stood outside, and behind him were a few people dressed like servants. But even if they were servants, they were still at the second rank of the martial path. At first glance, Zhao Feng felt that he looked familiar. Sir. Zhao Tianyang was shocked, and immediately went out to greet him. Hearing his father mention it, Zhao Feng immediately remembered that the person in front of him was the outer layer's manager. The general manager of the outer layer held real power and was in charge of the entire outer layer. He held a high position and was rarely seen. In terms of cultivation, the outer layer's manager had reached the 6th rank of the martial path, and was stronger than Zhao Tianjian. Zhao Tianyang was a bit cautious as he welcomed the outer layers manager into the room. Zhao Tianyang. To have such a good son is the good fortune you have accumulated over several lifetimes. The outer layers manager said with a smile. Greetings, manager. Zhao Feng walked out of the room, and bowed to the outer layers manager. At the same time, he circulated his hiding air technique to the maximum, to prevent the other person from seeing that he had reached the 4th rank of the martial path. Not bad, not bad. I've checked your household information. You're not even 14 years old, but you've already formed your inner strength, and become a half-step martial artist. Even Zhao Linlong was only at your level. The outer layers manager's face was full of praise. After exchanging a few pleasantries, Zhao Feng asked, Manager, what brings you here today? Oh. I almost forgot about the important matter. The outer layers manager coughed lightly, and his expression became serious. Due to your outstanding performance, the family has decided to focus on grooming you. From today onwards, you can move into the inner layer, and you'll receive 500 silvers a month. The first floor of the martial arts library is open to you. Hearing the outer layer's announcement, Zhao Tianyang and the Zhao clan were extremely emotional, and they thanked him profusely. Even Zhao Feng was shocked. He didn't think that the family would focus on grooming him so quickly. 500 silvers a month was 10 times more than what he had now. In the past, when he was at the 1st rank of the martial path, his monthly allowance was 10 silvers, and when he was at the 2nd rank of the martial path, it was 20 silvers. But now, not only was his allowance greatly increased, he also had other benefits. So much so that Zhao Feng's current treatment was even better than some of the inner disciples. This was really an exception promotion. Maybe it was because Zhao Feng's performance was too outstanding, so much so that he didn't even participate in the tournament, but he was already able to move into the inner layer of the family. Thank you for the family's grooming and manager's love. Zhao Feng immediately expressed his gratitude. Being in such a large family, even if there were some unfair things happening around him, as long as he was in the family, he would receive protection. If his ability increased, he would be promoted, and even focused on grooming. This was also the cohesiveness of the family's competitive system. Good, I'll send someone to arrange for you to move into the inner layer of the family. After the outer layer's manager finished, he ordered the servants behind him. On the same day, Zhao Feng's family moved into the new home of the inner layer of the family. The inner layer of the family was an important place for the Zhao family, and all the disciples and relatives here would receive protection. Entering here, not only did Zhao Feng receive protection, even his parents benefited. This courtyard is really big, it's more than enough for me to train. There are 2 to 3 floors, including a study, a bathroom, a firewood room, a stable. Zhao Feng entered his new home, feeling slightly excited. Because he was focused on grooming by the family, the courtyard and pavilion that Zhao Feng lived in were also given a few servants and maids. After moving into his new home, Zhao Feng once again began to consolidate his cultivation. Normally, he would train at home, but for some special and secret training, he would go to a remote place in the family. After 2 to 3 days, Zhao Feng's cultivation of the 4th rank of the martial path had basically stabilized. There's still 10 more days until the family tournament. I need to at least train Angry Dragon Fists to perfection, only then will I have a chance to fight for the top 3. At this time, his mind was completely focused on perfecting Angry Dragon Fists. Every night when he trained his inner strength, he would spend some time to comprehend it. On that night, Zhao Feng had successfully trained Angry Dragon Fists to perfection. Every punch of the Great Perfection Angry Dragon Fist was powerful and deep. When it was accompanied by the inner strength of the martial path, it was like a raging dragon roaring in a river, shaking the eardrums. Gotcha! With a light punch, Zhao Feng smashed a tree in front of him into pieces. This casual punch was comparable to the attack of the Tiger King. Angry Dragon Fists to perfection, combined with air-crossing breathing technique, it's like adding wings to a tiger. Zhao Feng could not suppress the excitement on his face. Looking at the inner and outer members of the Zhao clan, Zhao Feng had never heard of anyone who could train a middle-ranked martial art to perfection. Because people with this kind of talent and ability, spending the same amount of time, could train a high-ranked martial art to great success, or even near the peak. The next morning, Zhao Feng sat cross-legged, still training his inner strength. The ability of his left eye gave him a strong mental energy, giving him more time to train his inner strength. Therefore, air-crossing breathing technique also improved steadily. Zhao Feng! Zhao Feng! Exclamations came from the outside. Zhao Feng looked outside, only to see a few familiar outer disciples running to his door. One of them was Zhao Kuan. What happened? Zhao Feng was slightly shocked. A few Xian family disciples came to challenge my brother, Zhao Guang, and the others were all defeated. Zhao Kuan breathed heavily. Xian family disciples. Challenge? Zhao Feng was calm. What does this have to do with me? A few of them even asked to challenge you, the top outer disciple of the Zhao family. Zhao Kuan said anxiously. Where are they? Since they wanted to challenge him, Zhao Feng could not avoid it. He had some breakthroughs recently, so he wanted to exercise. Soon, Zhao Feng followed a few outer disciples and ran to the gate of the Zhao clan. A commotion came from the front. The younger generation of the Zhao family can't even take a single blow. Brother Fei's improvement is godly. 3 quasi-martial artists can't even take one blow from you. I heard that there's a genius called Zhao Feng in the outer disciples of the Zhao family. Let him come out and fight. A group of around 20 Xian family disciples stood at the gate of the Zhao family. There were 2 people leading them, a youth with a knife scar on the left and a youth wearing a straw hat on the right. Both of their cultivation had reached the 4th rank of the martial path. Especially the youth wearing a straw hat, his cultivation had reached the peak of the 4th rank of the martial path. It's him. Zhao Feng recognized the youth with a knife scar on the left. It was Xian Fei that he had met in the sky cloud forest. Now that a month had passed, Xian Fei had reached the 4th rank of the martial path. It seemed that the fight with the Tiger King had stimulated his potential. Looking at the current situation, the Xian clan side was aggressive, and they had 2 great warriors on their side. On the other hand, the Zhao family had 5 to 6 disciples injured. Zhao Yu and Zhao Qian both had wounds on their bodies. Zhao Feng, you're here. Zhao Yu endured the pain. When he saw Zhao Feng, his face was filled with joy. After all, Zhao Feng was the top outer disciple. Chapter 28. The top outer disciple. Zhao Feng is here. He is the new king of the Zhao clan's outer disciple. Zhao Feng's appearance caused a stir in the crowd. TSK, I thought he was some big shot, but he is just a half-step martial artist. Let Zhao Linlong come out. The youth in the straw hat said with disdain. Among the disciples of the 2 families, he had the highest cultivation and prestige, but he hadn't fought yet. On the other hand, Xian Fei's eyes lit up when he saw Zhao Feng. Zhao Feng. That Xian Fei is the top outer disciple of the Xian family. He fought 3 of us and won in 1 move. Zhao Qian reminded in a low voice. Fight 3 of us. Win in 1 move. Zhao Feng was shocked. After all, Zhao Qian and the others were all quasi-martial artists. Zhao Feng, we meet again. Do you remember our promise? Xian Fei walked out slowly and looked at Zhao Feng. He didn't look down on Zhao Feng because of his cultivation. Xian Fei still hadn't forgotten what had happened in the sky cloud forest. When Zhao Feng was still at the peak of the 2nd rank, he had defeated Xian Gang, who was at the peak of the 3rd rank, in 3 moves. Half a month ago, Xin Fei had reached the 4th rank and became the top outer disciple of the Xin family. He heard that there was a genius in the outer disciple of the Zhao family. At the age of 13, he had condensed his inner strength and became the top outer disciple. And that genius of the Zhao family just so happened to be called Zhao Feng. It wasn't a coincidence that he and the youth in the straw hat came to challenge the Zhao family. The difference was, Xin Fei's target was Zhao Feng, who was the top outer disciple. And the youth in the straw hat's target was Zhao Linlong, who was the top inner disciple. Of course I remember the promise. Zhao Feng walked out of the crowd. The two sides quickly emptied out a space. The venue gradually quietened down. Zhao Feng and Xin Fei stood several zhang apart, facing each other. The youth in the straw hat from the Xin family was slightly surprised. Although Xin Fei has just reached the 4th rank of the martial path, his strength is not to be underestimated. I can't believe he places so much importance on this kid. My cultivation and age are both higher than yours. I won't use my saber for the time being. Xin Fei's face was decisive as he sheathed his saber. Xin Fei, I advise you to give it your all. Zhao Feng's tone was filled with confidence. The disciples of the two clans were shocked by his words. Pooh! Where did this kid get his confidence from? The members of the Xin family snickered. Zhao Yu, Zhao Qian, and the others were also shocked. All right. As you wish. Xin Fei's expression became even more serious as he slowly took out his long saber. It's starting. Zhao Feng shouted as his body turned into a gust of wind. The air-crossing breathing technique in his body trembled and spread throughout his body. The spectators couldn't see Zhao Feng's movements clearly. Furthermore, Zhao Feng's movements were light and graceful, as if his body was weightless. Third wind slash. Xin Fei's eyebrows twitched as he waved the saber in his hand. A domineering inner strength swept out and pierced through his skin and bones. Poof! 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 In half a breath's time, Xin Fei slashed out 3 times with the saber in his hand. The aura from the blade shredded the leaves around him. Raging Dragon Fist. Zhao Feng's fist was erratic, but under the support of air-crossing breathing technique, his explosive power was shocking. He easily dodged the first 2 slashes. Bang! On the 3rd slash, Zhao Feng's fist emitted a faint green aura like the roar of a raging dragon, clashing with Xin Fei's saber. What a strong explosive power, and that inner strength, it's so strange and erratic. Xin Fei felt his hand go numb as he took a few steps back. The saber in his hand almost fell out of his hand. Other than that, there was an erratic inner strength that seeped into his body. Teng teng teng, Xin Fei took a few steps back before he could barely block his opponent's attack. After suffering a loss in one move, he immediately understood the reason. Firstly, Zhao Feng's Raging Dragon Fist's explosive power was shocking, and it was extremely pure. Secondly, his opponent's fist seemed to be able to find the weak point of the saber. Thirdly, Zhao Feng's inner strength was not any weaker than him, who was at the 4th rank of the martial path. In fact, it was even more profound. The biggest reason was the 3rd point. As a true martial artist of the 4th rank of the martial path, how could his inner strength lose to a half-step martial artist? Raging Dragon 7th move. Zhao Feng activated his Raging Dragon Fist, chasing after his opponent. Because Raging Dragon Fist had reached perfection, Zhao Feng's moves were even able to break free from the restrictions of his original martial arts. Especially when combined with air-crossing breathing technique, this set of fist techniques was even more agile. 6 gale slashes. Xin Fei's eyes flashed, and without hesitation, he used his strongest move. In that instant, the cold light from the saber swept out, and as the saber moved, streaks of light sealed off the surrounding few meters. In such a situation, some of the spectating martial artists were all moved. Zhao Feng understood that his opponent's move was an area of effect attack, trying to turn the tables and force him to retreat. However, Zhao Feng did not retreat. He calmly dodged, closed in, and occasionally used his fist to hit the flaws of his opponent's saber. In terms of speed, he completely surpassed Xian Fei, and his inner strength was also much better. Dang! Zhao Feng's fist hit the back of Xian Fei's saber, and he once again closed in, using his inner strength several times. Xian Fei retreated, and his blood boiled. Wah! After 7 punches, he spat out a mouthful of blood, and his figure swayed as he retreated from the battlefield. Thank you. Zhao Feng smiled, leaving behind the shocked youths of the two clans. So powerful. He defeated a true martial artist with his half-step martial artist cultivation. No wonder he's the top outer disciple of the Zhao family. It was indeed not easy to defeat a true martial artist with his half-step martial artist cultivation. During the battle, Zhao Feng was restricted by his cultivation, so he held back his strength and inner strength. He also purposely didn't use Raging Dragon Fist to its fullest. Even so, he only used around 10 moves to defeat Xian Fei. You're brilliant, I'm impressed. Xian Fei lost, but he didn't get angry. Instead, he looked calm. Zhao Feng couldn't help but praise him. Xian Fei wasn't arrogant, and he didn't give up. Such a mentality was rare, and he would definitely achieve great things in the future. TSK. Kid, you have some skills. I, Xian Tong, would like to learn a thing or two. The youth in the straw hat next to Xian Fei let out a weird ear-piercing sound. Poochie. With a wave of his hands, the straw hat on his head and the clothes on his body flew away, revealing his muscles that were as if they were cast from iron. Hiss. The disciples of the Zhao sect all took in a cold breath. Zhao Feng's left eye locked onto Xian Tong, and his eyebrows twitched. Every inch of Xian Tong's muscles seemed as if they were made of copper and iron. They contained powerful qi, blood, and explosive power. His martial path inner strength flowed continuously. Zhao Feng, watch out. He's Xian Tong, ranked 3rd among the inner disciples of the Xian family. He has cultivated bronze skin and iron body to the 4th level, and his strength is limitless. Even swords can't hurt him. Zhao Qian warned. Before he could finish speaking, he saw Xian Tong slowly walk over. He didn't seem to gather his energy or inner strength, but a powerful pressure came from his body. I'm afraid his strength is comparable to the 4th rank of the martial path. Zhao Feng felt an invisible pressure. Before I challenge Zhao Linlong, you can be my appetizer. Xian Tong licked his lips. After saying this, he walked toward Zhao Feng as if there was no one else around. Or rather, it was more accurate to describe it as pressure. Zhao Feng found that Xian Tong's body had many flaws, and he seemed to be very casual. Flaming Metal Fist. Zhao Feng quickly gathered his inner strength with the air-crossing breathing technique and punched Xian Tong's chest. Pang! The punch hit Xian Tong, and the latter laughed, that's all you've got. What a strong defense. The disciples of the two clans were dumbfounded. Not good. Zhao Feng's punch didn't break through Xian Tong's defense. Scram! Xian Tong's roar was like thunder as he waved his arm, and a powerful inner strength rushed over like an iron bull. This attack relied on brute force and inner strength, and it could probably challenge those of the 5th rank of the martial path. Zhao Feng reacted quickly, and the air-crossing breathing technique quickly gathered his inner strength. Pang! Pang! He lightly touched Xian Tong, and he used the force to fly. He flipped a few times in the air, and landed on the ground. What strength, and his body, it's as strong as steel. After Zhao Feng landed on the ground, the blood in his body moved slightly. Not bad, kid. Take a few more of my moves. Xian Tong's speed was faster than expected, and he pounced at Zhao Feng. His body was like a steel fortress, pressing down. Zhao Feng obviously wouldn't clash head-on with him, so he used his speed and inner strength to deal with him. Pang! Pa! Every time they clashed, Zhao Feng's arm would go numb, and he would quickly pull away. He knew that the biggest difference between him and Xian Tong was in physical strength and defense. Xian Tong was a martial artist that specialized in body tempering, and his muscles were as hard as steel, and his strength far exceeded those of the same rank. Zhao Feng's cultivation was suppressed to half-step martial artist, and he could only use 60 to 70% of his strength and inner strength, so it was naturally hard for him to fight head-on. Ha ha ha. Kid, you're too weak. Get Zhao Linlong out. Other than him, I don't care about anyone else. After Xian Tong pushed Zhao Feng away, he stopped fighting. Tsang. Zhao Feng was like a feather, and he landed on the ground with a smile on his face. Due to his advantage in speed and inner strength, even if Zhao Feng couldn't win, he wouldn't lose. Xian Tong didn't want to fight with Zhao Feng, and he wanted to conserve his strength to fight with Zhao Linlong. Really? Other than Zhao Linlong, you don't care about anyone else? At this moment, an extremely cold voice came from behind. The voice was so cold that it made people shiver. Who's there? Xian Tong roared. Everyone's gaze turned towards the owner of the voice. Zhao Han. Some of the disciples of the Zhao clan exclaimed. Under everyone's gazes, a black-clothed youth slowly walked out with a cold expression. Every step he took gave off a strange coldness and suffocating pressure. Zhao Han, ranked third among the inner disciples, just below Zhao Linlong and Zhao Qi. This was the first time that Zhao Feng sized up Zhao Han. However, when his left eye locked onto Zhao Han, he was shocked and he blurted out, "Fifth rank of the martial path." That's right, not the fourth rank of the martial path, but the fifth rank of the martial path. How is this possible? When did Zhao Han reach the fifth rank of the martial path? Some of the disciples of the two clans exclaimed. It looks like the first rank of the inner disciples of the Zhao clan will change. At least I haven't heard of Zhao Linlong reaching the fifth rank of the martial path. Zhao Han's appearance shocked the two clans. His sharp eyes scanned the crowd, and when they landed on Zhao Feng's face, he coldly said, "You are Zhao Feng." Zhao Feng felt a cold pressure, and he thought to himself, "This Zhao Han knows me." Chapter 29. That's right, it's me. Zhao Feng answered honestly. He didn't know why, but he could feel the coldness and hostility from Zhao Han. Good, good, good. Zhao Han's face turned colder, but he only said, "Good," 3 times. He didn't look at Zhao Feng anymore and turned to face the Xian family. Zhao Feng was confused. This was the first time he met Zhao Han. When did he offend him? Zhao Yu walked in front of him and reminded him in a low voice, Zhao Han is Zhao Yijian's cousin. The two of them had a good relationship. Zhao Yijian's cousin. Zhao Feng suddenly understood. No wonder Zhao Han was so hostile towards him. At the Outer Disciples tournament, Zhao Feng had almost crippled Zhao Yijian's arm, and he was still lying in bed. Such hatred made his father, Zhao Tianjian, want to kill him. As a cousin who had a good relationship with him, Zhao Han would naturally help Zhao Yijian get justice. Of course, the Zhao clan was facing enemies from the outside. Zhao Han had to deal with the Xian family first, so he had to put Zhao Feng's matter aside. Fifth rank of the martial path. Xian Tong's expression changed, he was stunned for a moment. But he quickly regained his composure and laughed coldly, "So what if you're of the fifth rank?" As one of the elites of the fourth rank, he often fought with those of the fifth rank. What a clown! Zhao Han walked towards Xian Tong step by step. With every step he took, the coldness on his body grew stronger. That coldness wasn't an illusion, but a real coldness that came from Zhao Han's inner strength. You've just reached the fifth rank not long ago, I would like to see how strong you are. Xian Tong laughed coldly, but his eyes were solemn. Iron Arm. Xian Tong's figure suddenly rushed forward. His powerful qi and blood and martial arts inner strength fused into his bronze-like arms. His whole body seemed to have transformed into a raging bull as he launched a head-on attack. What he displayed was a high-grade martial art, which allowed him to exert all of his strength to the extreme, suppressing his opponent with force. At this moment, Zhao Feng looked at his opponent. There were no obvious flaws on his opponent's body. His qi and blood were condensed to the extreme, and his martial arts inner strength had increased by half a level. Clearly, when Xian Tong fought with Zhao Feng, he had held back. Cold Snow Palm. Zhao Han's body glowed coldly as a shocking silver aura surged out of his body, spreading like frost. When he launched his palm energy, wisps of cold mist rose from the surroundings. That surging silver cold aura caused Zhao Feng's heart to jump, because this inner strength was simply too strong, even close to that of Zhao Tianjian who had suppressed him that day. Xian Tong had just charged forward when he felt an indescribable obstruction and pressure, and he felt as if he'd fallen into an icy pit. How could this be the inner strength of someone who has just entered the 5th stage of the martial path? Xian Tong was horrified. Pa! As the fist and palm collided, Xian Tong relied on his superior strength to force Zhao Han to take a step back. However, he let out a muffled groan, and a trace of blood flowed from the corner of his mouth. A strange cold inner force penetrated the defense of bronze skin iron body and entered Xian Tong's body, injuring his organs. How is this possible? This inner strength has reached the peak of the 5th stage, close to the 6th stage of the martial path. Xian Tong's body froze on the spot, and his blood seemed to freeze. Pang! Zhao Han sent him flying with a kick and laughed coldly. You want to challenge Zhao Linlong with just this bit of strength? Only I have the right to defeat him fair and square. Brother Tong. The disciples of the Xian family went over to help Xian Tong up. I'm fine. Xian Tong struggled to get up. It was a little strenuous. If it was a normal 4th stage cultivator, they would at least be bedridden for a month. Zhao Han, I admit that you're strong. Xian Tong clenched his teeth and stared at Zhao Han, but you've just reached the 5th stage, and your inner strength is already so strong. You must have used some kind of treasure, or had some sort of fortuitous encounter. What's the use of external strength? If you meet the number 1 of the Xian family, Xian Wuhan, you'll definitely lose. Hearing this, Zhao Feng and the others couldn't help but have expressions of deep thought. Indeed, Zhao Han's situation was too strange. He had just reached the 5th stage, but his inner strength was already so strong. When Zhao Feng first inspected Zhao Han with his left eye, he jumped up in fright. This was because the inner strength within Zhao Han's body was too strong, it was beyond logic. Xian Tong's analysis was correct. Zhao Han must have borrowed some kind of external strength. So what if I borrowed external strength? My luck is good, and the heavens are looking after me. When I completely refine this power and defeat Zhao Linlong, I will naturally go to the Xian family to challenge Xian Wuhan. Zhao Han said coldly. Xian Wuhan, a disciple of the Xian family, one of the 4 great geniuses of Sun Feather City. Zhao Feng had also heard of this name recently. It was said that Xian Wuhan was the strongest amongst the 4 great geniuses. He had reached the 5th stage a year ago, and his strength was even stronger than Zhao Linlong. After Xian Tong's defeat, the disciples of the Xian family left the Zhao family's territory. Brother Zhao Han really shocked everyone. After half a year of secluded meditation, he actually reached the 5th stage of the martial path. The main family sparring competition will start in 10 days. I can't wait. Zhao Han was naturally the center of attention. Of course, Zhao Feng's performance just then was not bad either. As a half-step martial artist, he was able to defeat someone of the 4th stage of the martial path. Before leaving, Zhao Han suddenly turned around, his eyes filled with killing intent as he stared at Zhao Feng. Zhao Feng didn't back down as he stared back at Zhao Han. This was the family territory, and he didn't believe that Zhao Han would dare to attack him. Even if he couldn't beat him, Zhao Feng had the confidence to use lightly floating fairy to escape. An eye for an eye, an eye for an eye. We'll meet again at the sparring competition. Zhao Han said this and turned around coldly. An eye for an eye. Zhao Feng thought in a low voice, but his heart turned cold. He had almost crippled Zhao Yijian's arm at the outer disciples' sparring competition. Zhao Han wanted to return an eye for an eye, his intentions were clear, on the way back. Zhao Feng asked Zhao Yu, "What's the competition?" Every year, the main competition is a challenge. Every participant can challenge a disciple of a specific rank. Zhao Yu explained. He could do that? Zhao Feng's heart clenched as he completely understood Zhao Han's intentions. Zhao Han openly stated his intentions, which showed how confident he was. With such a huge difference in strength, even if he knew the opponent's plan, it was hard to avoid it. You want to cripple my arm? When Zhao Feng returned home, his expression became colder and colder. The time for the main competition was still approaching, and there were only 10 days left. Zhao Feng began to prepare with all his might and cultivate even harder. Every night, he would cultivate the air crossing manual, and refine his inner strength. Zhao Feng was very clear that the difference between him and Zhao Han was the strength and quantity of inner strength. In terms of profoundness, air crossing breathing technique was close to the top of the inner strength, and would not lose to any disciple in the clan. Other than that, he would train angry dragon fists during the day, and occasionally practice lightly floating fairy. The second day, Zhao Feng practiced his fist technique in the courtyard as usual, and felt that angry dragon fists was becoming more and more perfect. At the perfect realm, angry dragon fists gradually broke free from the shackles of the original moves. Zhao Feng's left eye recorded many of the exciting fights between the disciples of the clan, and used these experiences to perfect and improve angry dragon fists to the perfect realm. Thus, after Zhao Feng's angry dragon fists reached the perfect realm, its power was still slowly increasing. His current strength was more than twice as strong as when he was at the outer disciples' sparring competition. "Can I come in?" A clear and melodious voice of a girl came from outside the courtyard. Zhao Feng felt that the voice was familiar, and when he turned to look, he saw a slender and elegant girl in a purple dress waiting in front of the courtyard. "It's her." Zhao Feng was a little surprised. "What, I'm not welcome." Zhao Yufei's clear eyes blinked slightly, and her smile was like a lotus in the morning, white and flawless. "Please come in." Zhao Feng was stunned for a moment, and then returned to normal. After Zhao Yufei came in, she quickly made her intention clear. She actually wanted to spar with Zhao Feng. From her words, it seemed that Zhao Yufei was unwilling to lose to Zhao Feng last time. "Okay, let's stop here." Zhao Feng, of course, did not reject anyone. Looking at the outer disciples of the clan, Zhao Yufei was the only disciple who could spar with him. Very quickly, the two figures clashed in the courtyard, exchanging blows, neither giving way to the other. At the moment of the clash, Zhao Feng only used angry dragon fists to its peak. Even so, he still had the upper hand. Half a cup of tea's time later, Zhao Yufei retreated in defeat. Her breathing was rapid, and her beautiful eyes flickered. "Your martial arts' inner strength, the speed at which you condense and attack is very fast, and it gives people a feeling that it is not real or fake. What is your secret?" It turned out that during the battle, Zhao Feng controlled his inner strength, and maintained the same level as Zhao Yufei. Even under such circumstances, Zhao Feng's inner strength was still a level higher, and he always had the upper hand. This was because of the advantage of air crossing breathing technique. The 3 breaths technique that I train in is a high-level martial art, and it specializes in training inner strength, but I am not as good as him. Zhao Yufei was shocked. This is my unique skill, and I will not easily teach it to others. Zhao Feng smiled lightly. Zhao Feng's rejection made Zhao Yufei slightly surprised. There were very few people of the same age who would reject her. Her face was still red, and she smiled. You also have obvious shortcomings. If you are interested, we can make a deal to make up for each other. Oh. Tell me about it. Zhao Feng's interest was immediately piqued. Chapter 30. In terms of inner strength and speed, you have a huge advantage, and your attack power is also not bad. But your only weakness is your own defense, which is lacking. After Zhao Yufei finished, she paid attention to Zhao Feng's expression. That's right. That's where my weakness lies. Unexpectedly, Zhao Feng was not surprised at all. He had the mysterious left eye, which allowed him to see through everything to the finest detail. Zhao Feng could easily see the weaknesses of his enemies, and it was the same for himself. You don't train in body-strengthening martial arts? Zhao Yufei was surprised. Nope. Zhao Feng shook his head. It was not that he did not want to learn body-strengthening martial arts, but this type of martial arts required a long period of perseverance, and could not be learned in a short period of time. Normal techniques and mental cultivation martial arts could be learned in a short period of time by relying on comprehension and talent. Only body-strengthening martial arts did not allow for any shortcuts, as it required time and perseverance, as well as the help of precious herbs. The body is the foundation of martial arts. A high-level body-strengthening martial art, not only can it strengthen the foundation, it can also increase one's defense. Brother Zhao Feng, are you interested? Zhao Yufei smiled and said. Especially when she said, Brother Zhao Feng, it made Zhao Feng's heart feel strange. Zhao Yufei's face, which had yet to completely fade, immediately turned as red as blood. A rare trace of shyness appeared in her eyes. The disciples of the clan were determined by their age. Based on age, Zhao Feng was younger than Zhao Yufei by half a year. Maybe it was because Zhao Feng's performance in the outer disciples' martial gathering was too shocking, but Zhao Yufei had almost forgotten about this point. That's true, I can consider it. Zhao Feng thought about it, then nodded his head in agreement. In the past, Zhao Feng's forte was speed, and normal people of the same level could not even get close to him, thus he had neglected the body-strengthening aspect. Now that Zhao Yufei mentioned it, Zhao Feng also took it seriously. In the Outer Disciples tournament, if he did not have the trump card of martial path inner strength, he would not have been able to directly block Zhao Yijian's cold-flowing sword. On the contrary, Zhao Yu was able to fight against Zhao Yijian without any inner strength. This was because of his powerful defensive body-refining martial arts. When he fought with Xian Tong yesterday, Zhao Feng also felt the formidability of body-refining martial arts. It was not easy for him to break through the opponent's defense. That afternoon, Zhao Yufei invited Zhao Feng to visit her home. Zhao Feng was surprised to find that Zhao Yufei's new home was adjacent to his own. As it turned out, Zhao Yufei's treatment was similar to that of Zhao Feng's. She was also heavily trained by the family and moved into the inner circle of the family. Grandfather. When Zhao Yufei came back, she shouted happily. Yufei is back. An old man with one arm walked out from the house and glanced at Zhao Feng without saying anything. I wonder what the deal that Yufei mentioned was. Zhao Feng finally entered the topic. Brother Zhao Feng, please wait a moment. Zhao Yufei stood up and walked in front of the old man and asked in a low voice. In the end, the one-armed old man nodded and returned to his room to retrieve an old leather book. This martial arts manual is called Metal Wall Technique. It is famous in the Cloud Country and is much better than Zhao Yu's Iron Dipper body. The old man with one arm gave the leather book to Zhao Yufei and sighed. Zhao Feng immediately realized that this grandpa and granddaughter must have already planned this and saw the advantage of his air-crossing breathing technique. The reason why Zhao Yufei asked him to spar and pointed out his flaws was to pave the way for this. Metal wall technique? Zhao Feng murmured. He had never heard of anyone in the Zhao family practicing this martial art. Zhao Yu's iron dipper body was also a high-ranked martial art, but it was passed down within the Zhao family and was on par with Xian Tong's copper skin metal body. From what the old man said, this martial art was much better than the iron dipper body. This body tempering martial art is a simplified version of the legendary saint-grade martial art, silver wall technique. Even though it's only a third of the original, it's still able to stand at the peak of high-rank martial arts. The old man with one arm said proudly. Holy martial art. Zhao Feng took in a cold breath as he looked at the old man with one arm. To be able to take out such a high-ranked martial art, he felt that the old man's background was not simple. He secretly circulated his left eye and found that the old man's blood was no different from a normal person's and there was no aura of inner force. 10 years ago, I lost my cultivation due to an accident. The old man with one arm seemed to have sensed Zhao Feng's gaze and said calmly. I'm sorry. Zhao Feng immediately looked away in shame. The old man with one arm continued expressionlessly, today, for my granddaughter, I would like to exchange this metal wall technique for your inner force technique. What do you think? Zhao Feng had already guessed what this request was. Let me think about it. Zhao Feng began to weigh the pros and cons. The air crossing formula was a set of inner force techniques. It had its own brilliant points and should surpass ordinary high-level martial arts. It might not even lose to top-notch martial arts. However, this set of inner force skills could only be used in conjunction with lightly floating fairy to bring out its greatest advantage. Of course, metal wall technique was not bad either. It was a simplified version of a legendary holy martial art and was on par with high-ranked martial arts. With this thought, Zhao Feng quickly began to think. Sure. Zhao Feng nodded and asked Zhao Yufei to bring him a pen and paper. Then, he wrote down the contents of Air Crossing Manual in one go. Zhao Feng had only copied down air crossing breathing techniques inner strength cultivation method, but didn't mention anything about lightly floating fairies usage. This way, Zhao Yufei would only get an inner force technique that had nothing to do with lightly floating fairy. After he finished writing, Zhao Feng and Zhao Yufei exchanged the manuals in their hands. The one-armed old man took the handwritten copy of the air-crossing incantation, and his eyes flashed. Zhao Feng did not hesitate as he used his left eye to scan the contents of Metal Wall Technique. He had hundreds of middle-ranked martial arts in his mind and his knowledge of martial arts was not bad. He only needed to scan the contents of Metal Wall Technique once to memorize it. He could feel that it was much better than the other martial arts in his mind. Not bad, not bad. This inner force technique is very suitable for Yufei. The old man with one arm finished reading Air Crossing Manual and his face lit up. It's been a pleasure working with you. Zhao Feng put away Metal Wall Technique and felt happy. But before he left, Zhao Feng asked curiously, Elder, why didn't you let Sister Yufei practice Metal Wall Technique? The one-armed elder smiled. You are a genius in the clan. Just from the name, I can tell that the Iron Wall scripture is as hard as iron. It's not suitable for women to cultivate. Moreover, Yufei's style is gentle and graceful. Your internal cultivation technique suits her very well. Otherwise, I wouldn't have traded Iron Wall technique for it. I see. Zhao Feng nodded. He had already memorized the contents of Metal Wall Technique and it was indeed not suitable for women to practice. After returning home, Zhao Feng could not wait to start studying Metal Wall Technique. Body strengthening techniques were usually easy to understand and not hard to learn. But this Metal Wall Technique was different from normal body strengthening techniques. The difficulty of learning it was comparable to a high-ranked martial art. This was not a problem for Zhao Feng. He slightly activated the power of his left eye, and the meaning of metal wall technique merged into his mind. That night, Zhao Feng successfully stepped into the door of metal wall technique. Metal wall technique had a total of 7 levels. The first 3 levels strengthened the skin and made the body more powerful. At the 3rd level, every part of the body would be as hard as steel and could withstand swords and blades. Just this alone made it much better than Zhao Yu's metal wall body. At the 3rd level, Zhao Yu's metal wall body required him to purposely accumulate blood to allow certain parts of his body to withstand swords and blades. The 4th level, using inner force to refine the blood, flesh, and bones. This can greatly increase one's strength and increase one's resistance against swords and blades. At this level, the body will be as hard as steel and you have reached the initial stage. Zhao Feng's eyes lit up when he saw the 4th level. However, this set of body tempering art was unique in that it could greatly increase one's physical strength. If I can train metal wall technique to the 4th level, I will have at least a 70% chance of winning in the tournament. Zhao Feng's heart skipped a beat. The 5th level, at this level, the metal wall body can break swords and blades and pierce through thousands of soldiers. The 6th level, metal wall body, can ignore all attacks under the 7th rank of the martial path. The 7th level, 1000 tempering, perfect body, will not melt even when placed in a furnace. Zhao Feng's heart skipped a beat as he read the last few levels. Especially the 7th level, it had almost reached an inhuman level. What did it mean to not melt even when placed in a furnace? As long as it was a body of flesh and blood, it would be burnt into ashes. If he could train metal wall technique to the 7th level, he would be invincible against anyone under the 9th rank of the martial path. I've really gotten a great deal. Zhao Feng's face was filled with excitement as he continued to train in the body strengthening technique. Because Zhao Feng had mastered inner strength and was a martial artist of the 4th rank of the martial path, his training speed was extremely fast. In just one day, Zhao Feng had successfully trained metal wall technique to the 1st level. After training metal wall technique to the 1st level, Zhao Feng found that his body had become stronger. This was an obvious result. However, after stepping into the 1st level, his progress slowed down significantly. Zhao Feng estimated that it would take him at least 10 days to reach the 2nd level. In another 10 days or so, the clan martial meet will begin. Zhao Feng thought for a while and made up his mind to go to the medicine pavilion in Sun Feather City to buy body strengthening powder. Each bag of body strengthening powder cost 2,000 silver and could be used 3 times. It could be used to strengthen the body and increase the speed of body strengthening. Zhao Feng clenched his teeth and bought 3 bags, spending around 6,000 silver in total. With the remaining silver taels, he bought a circulation pill, spending more than 6,000 silver taels. Everyone knew that the 4th to 6th ranks of the martial path were known as the energy accumulation stage. Then the function of the circulation pill was to increase the accumulation and refinement of inner strength. From this, it could be seen that Zhao Feng had never stopped training his inner strength. 3 bags of body strengthening powder and 1 pill had used up all of Zhao Feng's savings, returning him back to his original state. After returning home, Zhao Feng used a bag of body strengthening powder and started to train metal wall technique. As Zhao Feng's body was immersed in the body strengthening powder, a burning sensation started to spread from the surface of his body and slowly seeped into his body. Suddenly, a strange and familiar voice resounded. Pew pew. Pew pew. Zhao Feng's left eye emitted a slight warmth that intertwined with the burning sensation of the body strengthening powder. Whoosh, a miraculous heat was being guided from the outside to the inside of his body at a speed several times faster than before. This, Zhao Feng was shocked. He felt like his body was a block of ice as he quickly absorbed the body strengthening powder. Chapter 31. What's going on? Zhao Feng felt that his left eye was twitching, and his blood seemed to be changing as he absorbed the power of the medicine. It was certain that Zhao Feng's absorption rate was much faster than normal people. This was because a normal person would need to absorb one bag of body refining powder 3 times. However, Zhao Feng only used it once before he felt that there wasn't much power left in the body refining liquid. 2,000 silver worth of body refining liquid had been used up just like that. Zhao Feng felt his heart ache. Luckily, he was sure that he had absorbed all of the body refining liquid. He could clearly feel that the progress of the first level of metal wall technique had increased significantly. Just what kind of change has happened to my body? I can absorb the medicinal energy so quickly, and the efficiency is so high. Zhao Feng was surprised. He could only be sure that it had something to do with his left eye. The next day, Zhao Feng first practiced the air-crossing breathing technique a few times before he continued to soak in the body refining liquid. His metal wall technique improved by leaps and bounds. On the 3rd day, Zhao Feng's metal wall technique broke through to the 2nd level. Correspondingly, the 3 portions of body tempering powder that he had spent over 6,000 taels of silver had been completely used up. The first 2 levels of metal wall technique didn't increase Zhao Feng's strength by much. His strength increased slightly, but his defense only increased by 20 to 30%. This was mainly because Zhao Feng had reached the martial disciple realm, and his foundation was strong enough. If he was at the 4th rank of the martial path, these improvements would have a different meaning. Only when I reach the 3rd level of metal wall technique can my body become as hard as steel, and my defense will increase by leaps and bounds. Zhao Feng looked forward to it. However, after the body refining powder was used up, Zhao Feng's metal wall technique progressed at the speed of a tortoise. Money, money. Zhao Feng sighed. He had spent all of his savings, and he was broke. Thinking to this point, he took out the qi pill that he had bought the other day. The effect of the qi pill was to increase one's inner strength, and it was very useful for martial disciples. Zhao Feng immediately took the circulation pill and hurriedly activated the air-crossing technique. There was no need to even mention how profound the air-crossing manual was. Even Zhao Yufei's grandfather did not hesitate to exchange the iron wall incantation for it. Due to the powerful mental energy from his left eye, Zhao Feng had twice the amount of time to train compared to normal people. His inner strength training was progressing very quickly. As the efficacy of the accumulating qi pill melted, Zhao Feng felt a trace of warmth in his left eye. With the help of air-crossing formula, he absorbed the efficacy of the pill to the maximum. 1 day and 1 night later, Zhao Feng let out a long breath and spread out his palm. A translucent azure aura revolved around him, causing the dust in the surroundings to rise and give off a formless pressure. Unknowingly, his inner strength had reached the peak of the 4th rank of the martial path. Since iron wall technique and air crossing technique progressed at the same time, Zhao Feng's foundation became stronger. After another 2 days of consolidation, his cultivation gradually approached the peak of the 4th stage of the martial path. He calculated the time, there were still 6 or 7 days before the tournament. Iron wall technique, peak of the 2nd level, inner strength comparable to the peak of the 4th rank, my cultivation is also close to the peak of the 4th rank. Zhao Feng summarized his strength. With this level of strength, he had about a 40 to 50% chance of entering the top 3 of the inner disciples. As for defeating Zhao Han, the probability of a draw was about 70%, and the probability of winning was less than 30%. No. Zhao Feng shook his head, the probability of winning was too small. No matter if it was to fight Zhao Han or to enter the top 3, he desperately needed to increase his strength. However, if he cultivated according to the usual method, it would be difficult for his cultivation and his metal wall technique to have any major breakthroughs. Looks like I need to go to the sky cloud forest. Zhao Feng thought for a while and quickly came up with a plan. He immediately took out a long wooden box from his room. The wooden box was opened, and a silver longbow lay quietly inside, flashing with a cold luster. This silver bow was the one that Zhao Feng had bought in Sun Feather City. Only a martial artist would be able to unleash its true power. With the bow ready, Zhao Feng walked out of the house and left the Zhao sect's territory. He then stayed in Sun Feather City for half a day to prepare everything. Zhao Feng left the city and used lightly floating ferry, heading straight for the Sky Cloud Forest. Just as he left Sun Feather City, 3 figures appeared at the entrance of the city. 2 of them were dressed in black. Their skin was dark, and they looked similar. Brother. As expected, that kid has gone to the Sky Cloud Forest. One of the men in black seemed to be in a hurry. Very good, the wild forest is more suitable for us to attack. This plan is foolproof, that kid will definitely die. The man in black said in a hoarse voice, full of killing intent. In the middle of nowhere, Zhao Feng could practice lightly floating ferry to his heart's content. His body was as light as a feather, and as he jumped, he would occasionally pause in midair, as if he was walking on air. Today, Zhao Feng's lightly floating ferry had reached the initial level. But today's initial level was different from before. This was because when he first got lightly floating ferry, he only had 1/3 of the content. But now, Zhao Feng had the complete version, and although it was still at the initial level, his speed was 2 to 3 times faster than before. Tang! Tang! Zhao Feng used lightly floating ferry to its fullest potential. The inner strength of lightly floating ferry flowed through his body. It was swift and fierce, but it didn't lose its agility. In this vast countryside, he felt like he had turned into a bird, flying freely. I am only at the 4th rank of the martial path, and I already have such a feeling. If I surpass the 9th rank and reach a higher level, will I be able to fly? Zhao Feng couldn't help but look forward to it. Half an hour later, Zhao Feng finally arrived at the Sky Cloud Forest. The forest in front of him was endless, as if it was the mouth of a wild beast. No one knew what was in the depths of the Sky Cloud Forest. The only thing that Zhao Feng knew was that the deeper he went, the more dangerous it would be, and the higher the chance of meeting wild beasts. But danger and opportunity often coexisted. Entering the Sky Cloud Forest, Zhao Feng's heart was tense, and he would occasionally use his left eye to look ahead, in case there were any wild beasts or even wild beasts. As he flew for tens of miles, there were many strong wild beasts that appeared. Zhao Feng took out his silver string bow, and pulled the bowstring to its fullest, even injecting some inner strength into it. The bowstring let out a low hum, and even Zhao Feng could feel the explosive power contained within it. Shush! A silver arrow shot through the air, like a cold shadow, and hit a 400 to 500 pound wild boar 200 meters away. Pooh! The wild boar's eyes and head were pierced by the arrow, and blood splattered everywhere. After struggling for a while, it fell to the ground dead. Even a martial disciple of the 3rd rank of the martial path would find it hard to kill a 400 to 500 pound wild boar head-on. Zhao Feng didn't deal with the wild boar's corpse. That arrow was just to familiarize himself with the feel of the silver profound bow. His real target in this trip to the Sky Cloud Forest wasn't normal wild beasts, but wild beasts. Only by killing wild beasts would Zhao Feng be able to obtain valuable materials and earn enough money. This silver string bow's power is not bad. Within 300 steps, the power of each arrow is comparable to the full power of a 4th rank of the martial path cultivator. Furthermore, my arrows were coated with poison, and adding on the fact that it was a sneak attack, it has the power of a 5th rank of the martial path cultivator. Zhao Feng evaluated in his heart, and he was very satisfied. As a godly archer, Zhao Feng's chances of survival and hunting in the Sky Cloud Forest were much higher. Clap clap clap. Not bad, not bad. I never thought that my target would be a godly archer. Clapping sounds came from the front. Who's there? Zhao Feng was shocked. Raising his head, he saw a skinny man wearing a gray robe standing on top of a tree about 200 meters away. The other party was like a ghost, floating on top of the tree. If one didn't pay attention, they would have thought that he was a piece of cloth. Through his left eye, Zhao Feng found that the aura of this person was in a strange state, making his entire person seem very light and without any aura. His first guess was that this person's cultivation had reached the 5th rank of the martial path, and he practiced a martial art similar to the hiding air art. Who's there? Ha, you still don't know that you're about to die. The man in grey robe stood on top of the tree with a sneer on his face. He didn't seem to have any intention of attacking in the short term. However, his eyes were still fixed on Zhao Feng. Zhao Feng's right hand held the 3 poison arrows as he faced off against them. Why didn't he attack? At first, Zhao Feng felt that it was weird. However, he soon understood. Ha ha ha. Brat, die. A few hundred meters away, 2 men in black, who were at the peak of the 4th rank of the martial path, dashed over. He was stuck on both sides. Zhao Feng's expression changed. However, the one who brought him danger was the man in grey. Let's end this. A thin blade appeared in the hands of the man in grey, like the tail of a poisonous scorpion. What should I do? Zhao Feng's thoughts flew. At this moment, a familiar beating sound came from the depths of his left eye, which was similar to Zhao Feng's current mood. Under unprecedented danger. Zhao Feng pushed his left eye to the limit and entered a supervision interface, which greatly increased his reaction speed and sensitivity. Kill. The 2 men in black charged within 200 meters of him. Their every action was slowed down in Zhao Feng's eyes. As for the man in grey, his eyes were like dead water, and his body was like a dead tree, not moving at all. Zhao Feng's left eye locked onto the man in grey, because this person gave him a greater sense of danger. 100 meters. The 2 men in black laughed ferociously, the swords in their hands were filled with killing intent. This scene seemed to foreshadow the scene of Zhao Feng's blood splattering and his body being torn into pieces. However, under the supervision of his left eye, Zhao Feng's heart was extremely calm. Suddenly, Zhao Feng's left eye felt the blood and inner strength of the man in grey gathering. At this moment, a sharp light flashed in Zhao Feng's eyes, and the 3 poisoned arrows in his hands were quickly placed on the bowstring. The 3 poisoned arrows were arranged in a weird position, like an inverted triangle, and shot towards the man in grey. Chapter 32. Mockery appeared on the grey-robed man's face when he saw Zhao Feng pull his bow. However, when the 3 arrows arrived in front of him, his expression abruptly changed. The order of the 3 arrows was slightly off, but in a miraculous way, they locked onto his path of attack. Pow! The grey-robed man waved his sleeves and with a gust of wind, he blocked the first arrow. But immediately after, the second arrow whistled through the air. If he wanted to dodge the second arrow and use the best route to attack Zhao Feng, he would have to face the third arrow. The gliding trajectories of the 3 arrows seemed to have predicted his path. How did he do it? The grey-robed man's pupils constricted as shock appeared on his face. If this was all part of Zhao Feng's plan, then it was too terrifying. One had to know that his opponent was not even 14 years old. He did not know that Zhao Feng's left eye had already locked onto him, including his breathing, heartbeat, and blood flow. Zhao Feng used the details of his opponent's body and blood flow to determine where to attack. Everything was as he expected. The 3 arrows successfully stalled the grey-robed man for a few breaths of time. It's useless. You won't be able to escape death today. The grey-robed man's voice was cold and emotionless. However, Zhao Feng's following actions shocked him once again. After Zhao Feng shot out the 3 arrows, he did not run away, but instead turned around and attacked the 2 black-clothed martial artists behind him. Kill! The 2 black-clothed martial artists also charged towards Zhao Feng. Because they were facing each other, the distance between Zhao Feng and the 2 black-clothed martial artists was quickly shortened. This kid has a good plan. The gray-robed man felt a trace of unease. Zhao Feng's plan was the most logical way to escape. Firstly, he did not run away. In a situation where he was pincered on two sides, his chances of escaping were very low. At the very least, Zhao Feng was sure that the gray-robed man's speed was not any slower than his. Otherwise, he would not have been able to block his path without anyone noticing. Secondly, Zhao Feng found the only way to break through. In comparison, Zhao Feng felt that the two black-clothed cultivators were weaker. If he could deal with these two quickly and then focus on dealing with the gray-robed man, his chances of winning would increase. Seeing that Zhao Feng and the two black-clothed martial artists were getting closer and closer, how can a mere half-step martial artist deal with two peak LV for martial artists? The gray-robed man was not in a hurry. Xiao Qin did not need two black-clad cultivators to kill Zhao Feng. He only needed to stall for a while. When Xiao Qin returned, Zhao Feng would definitely die. Kill. Raging Dragon Fist. Zhao Feng crossed paths with the two black-clothed martial artists, his figure passing through the gap between their attacks. Suddenly, his speed increased explosively, and his aura changed drastically. No. This guy is a true martial artist. The expression of the gray-robed man chasing after him finally changed. Zhao Feng's aura had reached Martial Path Grade 4. Bang! Zhao Feng's fist, which was like a raging dragon, was accompanied by a powerful light green aura. It struck the chest of one of the black-clothed cultivators. Gotcha! The black-clothed martial artist's chest was shattered, and with a scream, he died on the spot. Zhao Feng's inner strength had reached the peak of Martial Path Grade 4, and his raging dragon fist had reached perfection. With one punch, he killed a black-clothed martial artist. This was not only because the black-clothed martial artist had underestimated him, but also because of Zhao Feng's strength and his left eye's calculations. Little brother. The other black-clothed martial artist's eyes turned red as he roared in anger. Raging Dragon Fist. Zhao Feng did not dare to be slow, and he charged towards the other black-clothed martial artist. Being merciful to the enemy was being cruel to oneself. You killed my little brother, I will cut you into 1,000 pieces. The sword in the black-clothed cultivator's hand released a shocking amount of inner strength as he madly attacked Zhao Feng. Because Zhao Feng's cultivation and strength had been exposed, and the other party was going all out, it was much harder to kill him instantly. Stall him. The gray-robed man shouted in anger. He didn't need the black-clothed martial artist to kill Zhao Feng, he only needed him to stall him. Unfortunately, the black-clothed martial artist had completely lost his mind, and he attacked with all his might. Zhao Feng used his left eye to search for the fatal weakness of his opponent. But time was limited, and the gray-robed man was about to catch up. Risk it all. Zhao Feng did not care about anything else, and his body was as agile as a cat as he cut through the black-clothed martial artist's blade net. Crack! Zhao Feng had won by a hair's breadth, and his fist landed on his opponent's left shoulder. Ah! The black-clothed martial artist's arm was broken, but he still charged towards Zhao Feng, ignoring his injuries. Zhao Feng could only punch again, and shatter his throat. Plop! The remaining black-clothed martial artist fell to the ground, dead. Zhao Feng had also paid a price. His chest had been hit by the other party before he died, and his inner strength had entered his body, causing him to suffer some internal injuries. His metal wall technique had not reached the 3rd level, and he could not take a full-powered attack from a martial artist of the same rank. Brat, you've hidden your strength really well. Your true strength is actually close to the 5th rank of the martial path. But you won't be able to escape today. At this moment, the gray-clothed man flew over. In the silent primeval forest. The two faced each other, and the atmosphere was strangely tense. Who sent you to kill me? Is it Zhao Tianjian? Zhao Feng stared at the gray-clothed man, and his breathing quickened. At this moment, he was 80% sure that the mastermind was Zhao Tianjian. In the entire Sun Feather City, the only people that he hated were Zhao Tianjian and his son. Ha ha ha, no matter if it is or not, you will still die. The gray-robed man grinned hideously. His figure flashed like a ghost, and the curved blade in his hand that was as thin as a cicada's wing drew a transparent line that was like mercury. Whoosh! Zhao Feng felt that the opponent's footwork was amazing, and the speed of his attack exceeded the reaction speed of normal martial artists. Even so, with his left eye locking onto the opponent, his reaction speed increased, which allowed him to dodge. If it was a normal martial artist of the 4th or 5th rank, they would have already died. The thin blade in the gray-clothed man's hand was terrifyingly sharp. Even Xian Tong's copper-skin metal body couldn't block it. If Zhao Feng took one hit, he would lose his life. He was also trying to find the opponent's weakness. But the gray-clothed man was experienced, and he had been through life and death battles. He basically didn't have any fatal weakness, not even a small one. High-ranked blade skills, high-ranked footwork skills, high-ranked inner strength. All of them have reached the high rank. Especially the blade skills, they are close to the peak. Zhao Feng estimated the opponent's strength as he dodged. The result naturally made his heart go cold. The gray-clothed man's cultivation had reached the peak of the 5th rank, and he was even close to the 6th. Adding on the fact that he had high-ranked martial arts, he was definitely an elite of the 5th rank. Furthermore, as the battle continued, Zhao Feng felt that his internal injuries were acting up. Instead of fighting in close combat, I'll definitely die. Why not? A light flashed in Zhao Feng's eyes as he thought of a plan. Tang! He suddenly retreated from the battle, and pushed lightly floating fairy and air-crossing breathing technique to the maximum. In an instant, he jumped into the forest and ran towards the depths of the sky cloud forest. This time, because he had used all of his cultivation, Zhao Feng's lightly floating fairy's speed had increased by half. Where do you think you're going? The gray-clothed man was shocked, but he didn't fall behind. Like a ghost, he chased after him. After running for a few miles, Zhao Feng relaxed a little. His opponent had the advantage of his cultivation, and had trained in high-ranked martial arts, but his speed was only on par with his own. As Zhao Feng ran, he used his left eye to analyze the route he should take, trying to find a way to stop his opponent. Because his left eye could see further, Zhao Feng was like a fish in the water in the sky cloud forest, there were no obstructions. On the other hand, the gray-clothed man would sometimes be affected by some obstacles, and would use his inner strength to shatter the grass and leaves. Humph, although I can't get rid of you, I can still lure you into the depths of the sky cloud forest. If worst comes to worst, I'll just die with you. Zhao Feng said with determination. Along the way, he felt the blood flow in his body becoming smoother and smoother. Lightly floating fairy seemed to have improved. At this time, according to Zhao Feng's plan, there would be fierce beasts nearby. Roar! The fierce beast's roars and powerful killing intent caused the gray-clothed man's heart to skip a beat. This bastard! Damn it! The gray-clothed man clenched his teeth. If it was a normal low-ranked fierce beast, its strength would be around the 4th or 5th rank of the martial path, or even the 6th rank of the martial path. Facing these low-ranked fierce beasts, the gray-clothed man could protect himself. But if he was unlucky and met a high-ranked fierce beast, then he would be in danger. Normal martial artists wouldn't even have the chance to escape if they met one. This was because a high-ranked fierce beast's strength was comparable to a martial master's. It was at least at the level of an elder of the Zhao clan. Zhao Feng's goal was very simple. He wanted to lure the gray-clothed man to a place with many fierce beasts. Because of his left eye's vision, Zhao Feng could predict from 10 miles away. Usually, when the two arrived, Zhao Feng would instantly hide in a corner, and the fierce beasts would notice the gray-clothed man first. Roar! Roar! Zhao Feng lured the gray-clothed man near 2 silver-striped blood leopards. These two silver-striped blood leopards had terrifying killing intent, and their faces were ferocious. They were even bigger than the Tiger King. Zhao Feng estimated that the silver-striped blood leopard's strength was comparable to the 5th rank of the martial path. As soon as they reached their territory and alerted the silver-striped blood leopards, Zhao Feng's figure quickly moved and hid in the branches of a large tree. He then quickly used the hiding air technique to hide his aura. When the hiding air technique was practiced to the high level, it could completely hide one's aura, smell, and even lower one's body temperature. Zhao Feng used this to avoid the two silver-striped blood leopards' sense of smell. However, the gray-clothed man who was chasing from behind suffered a disaster. He didn't have Zhao Feng's powerful left eye's vision, which allowed him to predict from 15 to 16 miles away. Roar! Who? The two silver-striped blood leopards roared and pounced towards the gray-clothed man. Shameless brat! The gray-clothed man cursed in anger. He clearly knew where Zhao Feng was hiding, but how could he let himself be entangled by the two silver-striped blood leopards? The silver-striped blood leopards could jump up trees at an astonishing speed, and their strength was comparable to the peak of the 5th rank. If there was only one, it would be easy for the gray-clothed man to deal with it. But if there were two, then it would be troublesome. Seeing the gray-clothed man being battered by the silver-striped blood leopards. Ha ha ha, Zhao Feng hid between the gaps of the large tree and gloated. With his mysterious left eye, his ability to survive in the sky cloud forest was far better than ordinary martial artists. Hee, don't blame me for hitting you when you're down. Zhao Feng had a sinister smile on his face. He took the profound silver bow from his back, knocked 3 poison arrows, and aimed at the gray-clothed man. Chapter 33. Because they were hiding inside the tree, Zhao Feng could see the man in gray, but the man in gray couldn't see him. Zhao Feng used his left eye to lock onto the target and calculated the trajectory. 3 poison arrows were knocked on the bowstring. He didn't attack immediately. Once I attack, my aura will be discovered by the two beasts at the peak of the 5th rank. Zhao Feng remained calm. He didn't want to face the counterattack of the two silver-striped blood leopards after killing the man in gray. On the other side, the man in gray was struggling to deal with the two beasts. He was also keeping an eye out for Zhao Feng's sneak attack. Zhao Feng couldn't help but sigh. This person was indeed an elite king amongst the same rank. Even in this kind of situation, he was still able to keep his guard up. Rumble at this moment, the ground and the trees nearby started to tremble, as if there was a giant creature moving. Hiss! The two silver blood-striped leopards, which were at the peak of the 5th heaven, trembled at the same time. They stopped attacking and shivered. Roar! A soul-shaking roar echoed in a 10-mile radius, causing countless beasts and even beasts to tremble. What is that? Zhao Feng felt his blood boil and his eardrums vibrate. Just the aura and the roar made him feel uneasy. Not good, the man in gray seemed to realize something and his face turned pale. The information that the gray-clothed man knew about the sky cloud forest far surpassed Zhao Feng, who was just a disciple of the branch family. That is, Zhao Feng saw a purple-black tiger with 2 wings on its back with his left eye. It was 7 to 8 meters tall and more than 10 meters long, like a small mountain. Such a huge saber-toothed tiger was purplish-black in color. It was a daunting sight to behold. In terms of size, the Tiger King was as weak as a baby in front of it. The scariest thing was that there was a pair of black wings on the tiger's back, which allowed it to fly for a short period of time. Rumble wherever the tiger went, the trees collapsed. Some of the trees that needed 3 to 4 people to wrap their arms around were instantly turned into pieces. A shapeless wave of air swept through an area of over 30 meters, and it seemed to have exceeded the limits of a human strength. Double-winged saber-toothed tiger, a high-tier vicious beast with strength comparable to the 8th or 9th stage of the martial path. The gray-robed man fell into extreme fear, his legs trembling. The aura of a high-tier fierce beast caused countless wild beasts to tremble in fear. This was a pressure that originated from a creature's bloodline. Even from far away, it made one tremble, unable to budge. Zhao Feng stood in the branches and leaves of the towering tree, his legs trembling uncontrollably. Under that terrifying aura, he couldn't even control his body. Roar! With a loud roar, the double-winged saber-toothed tiger pounced towards the silver blood-striped leopard and the grey-robed man. Help! The grey-robed man struggled with all his might before he managed to regain some strength to move. Crack! The double-winged saber-toothed tiger opened its mouth and swallowed a silver blood-striped leopard whole. The bloody scene caused Zhao Feng, who was hiding in the dark, to feel a chill in his heart. Yet, even he had to endure that terrifying aura. Zhao Feng even had a feeling that the double-winged saber-toothed tiger had sensed his existence. After the double-winged saber-toothed tiger swallowed a silver blood-striped leopard, its blood-purple eyes looked towards the towering tree where Zhao Feng was. What? Zhao Feng's body felt like it had fallen into an ice cave. When a fierce beast reached the high tier, it couldn't be measured by common sense. Have you ever seen a tiger with wings, and such a huge one at that? Run! Run quickly! If I don't run, there won't be any hope left. Zhao Feng had a strong desire to live. Under that suffocating pressure, Zhao Feng focused all of his attention into his left eye. The ability of his left eye was pushed to the limit, allowing him to enter an extremely calm state. Apart from that, his left eye released a trace of heat that spread throughout his body. Zhao Feng felt the pressure on his body lighten. Run! His body turned into a blur as he found a blind spot that the opponent couldn't see and ran into the distance. But even so, Zhao Feng still felt an oppressive pressure as if he had been targeted. Gotcha! Another miserable howl came from behind him. The other silver blood-striped leopard had also died. In an instant, the double-winged saber-toothed tiger had killed two fierce beasts that were comparable to the peak of the 5th rank. Only the grey-robed man was left near it. Run! The grey-robed man ran in another direction in despair. The double-winged saber-toothed tiger slowly ate the food in its mouth, digesting it bit by bit before it slowly chased after the grey-robed man. Although the double-winged saber-toothed tiger was only jogging, the grey-robed man was in despair. The distance between them was getting closer and closer. One had to know that he had trained in a high-tier movement skill that had reached the high level, and his cultivation was close to the 6th rank of the martial path. The speed at which he could squeeze out his potential was even faster than Zhao Feng's. On the other side, Zhao Feng's potential was completely unleashed. His lightly floating fairy increased his speed by a few notches. Furthermore, the blood in his body was squeezed out, exceeding his usual limit. My cultivation has reached the peak of the 4th rank. Zhao Feng felt his improvement, but he was not happy at all. This was because the double-winged saber-toothed tiger's senses and vision were extremely strong. Even if he ran 10 miles away, he would not be able to escape. At this moment, the sound of fighting came from behind him. Grey Moon Slash. Before the grey-robed man died, he used a fatal strike. The thin curved blade in his hand slashed out with an ear-piercing sound, and the powerful inner strength of the martial path even moved forward a few feet. The power of that strike was instantly pushed to the peak of a high-tier martial skill. Not only that, the grey-robed man's cultivation also broke through to the 6th rank in that instant. Pucci, that fatal strike could almost kill a 6th rank martial path cultivator, and it landed on the double-winged saber-toothed tiger. Roar! The double-winged saber-toothed tiger opened its mouth and swallowed the grey-robed man along with his weapon. As for that powerful, Grey Moon Slash, it only left a half-inch deep wound on the double-winged saber-toothed tiger's body. That kind of wound was like an itch to a giant creature like this. Seeing the grey-robed man die, Zhao Feng felt a sense of danger, as if he was shrouded in the shadow of death. The double-winged saber-toothed tiger's next target was him. Luckily, the double-winged saber-toothed tiger was still a distance away from him, and it was only leisurely chasing. The double-winged saber-toothed tiger had eaten a few wild and fierce beasts, and it seemed to be full, so it couldn't run fast. Zhao Feng thought that the double-winged saber-toothed tiger would give up on chasing him. But the double-winged saber-toothed tiger had a playful look in its eyes as it locked onto him. This bastard! Zhao Feng cursed as he activated his left eye, trying to find an escape route. Suddenly, a stream appeared on the left, and on the other side was a canyon. Zhao Feng's left eye saw through 10 miles of distance, and found a deep cave in the canyon. It was more than enough for him, but with the double-winged saber-toothed tiger's size, it definitely wouldn't be able to enter. Zhao Feng quickly thought of a plan, and with a leap, he left the forest and floated towards the stream. Whoosh! 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 Zhao Feng's feet lightly stepped on the surface of the water, and he quickly crossed the stream. With his current level of cultivation, using lightly floating fairy, it wasn't hard for him to walk on the water. Whoosh! The double-winged saber-toothed tiger suddenly flapped its wings, and flew into the air, chasing after Zhao Feng. Run! Zhao Feng was shocked, and he pushed his speed to the limit, running towards the cave in the canyon. The double-winged saber-toothed tiger wasn't a flying beast, so its flying ability was average. Adding on the fact that it had eaten too much, it wasn't fast. Even so, it still chased after Zhao Feng. In his vision, the cave was getting closer and closer. 10 miles. 9 miles. 8 miles, the distance between them was getting closer. When the cave was only 1 to 2 miles away, Zhao Feng suddenly felt a cold aura. Whoosh! A ghastly and bloody aura was born in the canyon. Hiss! The eerie and frightening sound made Zhao Feng's heart tremble. Even the double-winged saber-toothed tiger paused in its flight, as if it was afraid. Whoosh! Suddenly, a violent tremor came from the valley. A blood-colored python as thick as a water tank jumped out of the cave. It was more than 10 meters long, and it was terrifying. The blood-colored python's aura wasn't any weaker than the double-winged saber-toothed tiger. Ah! Zhao Feng's body stiffened, as if he was petrified. In front of him was the python, and behind him was the double-winged tiger. This was the most desperate situation of all. However, what made him feel slightly relieved was that after the blood-colored python appeared, it was immediately attracted by the double-winged saber-toothed tiger. The two beasts stared at each other from afar. The double-winged saber-toothed tiger let out a roar in mid-air, as if it was demonstrating its power. The blood-colored python didn't back down. This was its territory, and it wouldn't allow anyone to invade. As for the tiny Zhao Feng, he had been completely ignored. After staring at each other for a long time, the double-winged saber-toothed tiger finally became impatient. It roared and pounced at the blood-colored python. So, the blood-colored python jumped up and faced the double-winged saber-toothed tiger head-on. Instantly, the two beasts fought fiercely, causing the ground to shake and dust to rise. Zhao Feng didn't dare to act rashly. He quietly moved back, concealed his aura, and moved closer to the cave. Roar! At a certain moment, the blood-colored python and the double-winged saber-toothed tiger were entangled, tearing at each other. The bloody and cruel scene made Zhao Feng's heart tremble. After a long time, the movements of the two beasts became smaller and smaller. Half an hour later, there was silence in the canyon. Zhao Feng let out a long breath and slowly approached the bodies of the two beasts carefully. Even though his left eye had confirmed that their life force had dissipated and they were dead. Zhao Feng walked up to the small mountain of corpses and glanced over them, feeling a sense of regret. The bodies of the two beasts were heavily damaged. Zhao Feng didn't expect to bring such a large group back to Sun Feather City. Suddenly, a cold light flashed in his eyes. Zhao Feng squatted down and took out a thin curved blade from the corpses. This curved blade was the weapon of the gray-robed man, and it was extremely sharp. Roar. At this moment, the roars of wild beasts came from the nearby valley. Zhao Feng scanned the area with his left eye and was shocked. There were tens of fierce beasts approaching, and the strongest of them was comparable to the 6th rank of the martial path. Not good. The bodies of the 2 high-rank fierce beasts must have attracted the attention of other fierce beasts and wild beasts. Zhao Feng didn't even think as he held the curved blade and jumped into the cave of the Blood Python Canyon. Chapter 34. Entering the cave, Zhao Feng felt extremely cold. As he went deeper, the space in the cave gradually expanded. Inside the cave, there were pythons that appeared from time to time, but they were mostly normal pythons. Fierce beasts were rarely seen. Zhao Feng's left eye would always predict them and deal with them from afar with his silver bow. As for the pythons that were close to him, he would use the thin curved blade to kill them. The thin curved blade was extremely sharp. Even if it was a fierce beast, Zhao Feng used his inner strength to cut it in half. Half the time it took to drink tea later, a blood-colored wall appeared in front of him. In the dark cave, there was a strange glow. Under the blood-colored wall, there was a blood-colored pool that was bubbling with blood. Zhao Feng didn't know what the blood-colored pool was, but he felt that its aura was similar to that of the giant python from before. Blood ginseng, blood lingji, blood bamboo stone, 300 years old, 500 years old, 1,000 years old. When his gaze fell on the blood-colored wall, Zhao Feng's heart skipped a beat and his face was filled with joy. On the blood-colored wall, there were some precious treasures, the oldest of which was over 1,000 years old. Zhao Feng had eaten 200 to 300 years old precious herbs before, so he naturally knew their value and effects. Normally, 500-year-old blood ginseng was worth around 10,000 silvers. As for the 1,000-year-old blood ginseng and blood lingji, they were even more rare in Sun Feather City. At this moment, Zhao Feng roughly calculated that there were around 2,300-year-old herbs, a dozen 500-year-old herbs, and 3,000-year-old herbs. 500-year-old blood ginseng has an effect on normal cultivators. As for 1,000-year-old herbs, even those of the 6th rank of the martial path and martial masters would need them. Zhao Feng's voice trembled as he couldn't help but let out a long roar to express the joy in his heart. One who survives a disaster is bound to have good fortune. Zhao Feng had survived a desperate situation, and now it was finally time for him to find this land of fortune. Walking in front of the blood-colored wall, Zhao Feng didn't immediately pick up the precious herbs on it. His gaze was locked onto the blood-colored spring. Beside the blood-colored spring, there was some shed python skin. The spring water flowed down from the rock walls to maintain its freshness. For so many precious herbs to grow on the blood-colored rock wall, the liquid flowing down from it must be something extraordinary. Zhao Feng's eyes were burning. He carefully squatted down and reached out a hand to touch the spring water. He felt a trace of warmth. Suddenly, a throbbing sound came from his left eye. A strange power came from the blood-colored liquid. It was even more powerful than the body-tempering liquid he used. Great! Zhao Feng was overjoyed. The blood-colored spring water was the essence of the power within the blood-colored rock wall. It was precisely because of it that precious herbs could grow on the rock wall for thousands of years. Thump! Zhao Feng no longer hesitated and jumped into the blood-colored liquid. Glug, glug. Blood-colored bubbles rose around his body. Zhao Feng felt a powerful and hot energy enter his body through his pores. It first cleansed the surface of his skin and flesh, then after a buffer, the warm energy seeped into his body. Woo! Zhao Feng felt so comfortable that he couldn't help but moan. The power of this blood-colored liquid is several times stronger than the body-tempering liquid I bought. Zhao Feng circulated the air-crossing mantra and metal wall technique at the same time. The blood-colored liquid was magical. Not only could it strengthen the body like the body-tempering liquid, but it could also help internal cultivation. It could be used both internally and externally. Time flew by. Under the effect of the blood-colored liquid, Zhao Feng's air-crossing mantra and metal wall technique progressed at the same time. But relatively speaking, the blood-colored liquid had a greater effect on body tempering. This was because the medicinal energy first cleansed the surface of the body and was absorbed by the flesh and bones by more than 70%. About half a day later, Zhao Feng felt that his metal wall technique had finally reached the peak of the second level. At this moment, he felt that his body had become extremely tough. The surface of his skin was like iron, and his bones were stronger. Metal wall technique has reached the third level. My defense has doubled, and my strength has increased by 200 to 300 kilograms. Zhao Feng was very satisfied. If he could completely stabilize the third level of metal wall technique, his body would be as hard as steel and he could block swords and blades. After reaching the third level, Zhao Feng stayed in the blood-colored liquid for a few more hours. At this moment, his cultivation had reached the peak of the fourth rank of the martial path. As for inner strength, it was close to the fifth rank. In the sky cloud forest, when he was on the verge of death, his cultivation had reached the peak of the fourth rank of the martial path. Even the gray-robed elder had reached the sixth rank of the martial path before he died. It looks like a martial artist's potential can be stimulated when they are on the verge of death. Zhao Feng couldn't help but sigh. After stabilizing the third level of metal wall technique, he jumped out of the blood-colored liquid and came to the entrance of the cave. Roar, roar, roar! In the valley outside of the cave, some deadly beasts and even stronger wild beasts were fighting with each other. The scene was bloody and corpses were everywhere. These deadly beasts and wild beasts were all fighting to eat the bodies of two high-tier deadly beasts. Zhao Feng couldn't help but sigh. The value of a high-tier deadly beast's body was at least 10 times higher than that of a low-tier deadly beast. However, these deadly beasts and wild beasts could also eat the bodies of high-tier deadly beasts to strengthen themselves. Facing so many deadly beasts and wild beasts, Zhao Feng didn't dare to get close, so he quietly returned to the blood pool. I might as well cultivate here for a few more days. Zhao Feng once again laid in the blood pool to cultivate. The power of the Scarlet Spring was very miraculous. If he missed this opportunity, he would not get another one. Another half a day passed. Zhao Feng's cultivation and inner strength were close to the fifth rank of the martial path, and his metal wall technique had also improved. In the dimension of his left eye, the faint azure light had extended to 4 feet 9 inches. It's about time to break through to the fifth rank. Zhao Feng jumped out of the blood pool and first performed a round of Angry Dragon Fists. Angry Dragon Fists had long since been trained to the max level, and the power of some of its moves had even exceeded the limits of the original martial arts. This meant that Zhao Feng's Angry Dragon Fists was slightly stronger than normal max-level martial arts. From a certain point of view, it could be said that it had been upgraded to another martial art. After a round, Zhao Feng's blood and inner strength felt like they were burning. Tang! Zhao Feng jumped up and plucked a 500-year-old blood ginseng. Normally, even if a martial artist reached the peak of a rank, they wouldn't be able to break through immediately. This was the problem of a bottleneck. Zhao Feng ate the 500-year-old blood ginseng in order to break through this bottleneck. The 500-year-old blood ginseng was stronger than 300-year-old blood ginseng. Zhao Feng felt the medicinal energy rampaging in his body. He hurriedly activated the air-crossing mantra to guide and absorb the medicinal energy. One day and one night later, Zhao Feng felt the bones in his body crack, and his blood and inner strength intertwined. The amount of blood and qi in his body increased, and he could refine more inner strength. I have just broken through to the fifth rank, and the amount of inner strength I have almost doubled. My strength and body have also increased. Zhao Feng could clearly see his improvement through his left eye. Then, he stabilized himself in the cave for a day and circulated the air-crossing breathing technique to absorb the medicinal energy. The inner strength that was pushed by the air-crossing breathing technique became more agile, and the speed at which it condensed was shocking. After breaking through to the 5th rank, Zhao Feng's overall strength had increased by a large amount. If he met the gray-robed man again, he was confident that he could win. Cultivation was a kind of basic strength. As one's basic strength increased, the power of all kinds of martial arts moves, martial Dao inner strength, and lightness martial arts would also increase. After stabilizing himself for a day, Zhao Feng ran towards the entrance of the cave. Roar, a soul-shaking roar came from within the canyon. Zhao Feng's blood shook, and his eardrums hurt. His body was suppressed by a killing aura, and his blood was trembling uncontrollably. That is, his expression was one of shock. He saw a 7 to 8 meter long green-eyed wolf squatting in the canyon. It gave off a shocking killing aura, and as it roared, all the wild and deadly beasts within 10 miles knelt down. It was obvious that this green-eyed wolf was a high-tiered deadly beast, and its strength wasn't any weaker than the double-winged sword-teeth tiger or the blood-red python. The green-eyed wolf sensed Zhao Feng, and with a roar, it charged over like a tornado. What speed! Zhao Feng's left eye constricted, and he quickly circulated his inner strength, turning into a blur as he retreated into the depths of the cave. Boom! The cave shook violently, and an invisible wave of air swept in all directions. The remaining wave hit Zhao Feng's body, causing him to groan. A high-tier deadly beast, what terrifying power! Zhao Feng's body was hit by the wave of air, and he felt a faint pain. This was because he had circulated his inner strength to protect himself, and his metal wall technique had reached the 3rd level, so his body was like iron. If it was when he had just reached the 4th rank of the martial path, this wave of air would probably have killed him. Boom! The green-eyed wolf roared, and it charged at the entrance of the cave. Zhao Feng felt like the mountain was shaking. Luckily, the walls were hard enough, and the entrance of the cave was smaller than the green-eyed wolf. After a few attacks, the entrance collapsed. Boom! As the entrance collapsed, a large piece of rock covered the entrance. Ah! Zhao Feng's expression changed, and black lines appeared on his forehead. Then, with a slight trembling sound, the green-eyed wolf left the entrance. However, Zhao Feng could still feel its aura. After the blood-red python died, the canyon became the territory of the green-eyed wolf. Even if Zhao Feng could barely dig through the entrance, he would still have to face a powerful enemy. After thinking for a while, he gritted his teeth and returned to the blood pond in the depths of the cave. The cave was spacious, and there were still snakes and bats that could be eaten. It was enough for Zhao Feng to survive for a while. Plop! Zhao Feng jumped into the blood pond, closed his eyes, and focused on cultivating the metal wall technique. The blood-colored liquid was especially useful for body tempering. Zhao Feng felt his body burning, as if it was being corroded. His skin, flesh, bones, and meridians were all changing. Boom! 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 His left eye strangely throbbed, and a trace of warmth spread through his limbs and bones, greatly increasing the efficiency of his absorption of the blood-colored liquid. 2 hours. 4 hours. 6 hours. Zhao Feng felt his body become stronger, and his bones became as hard as steel. His heartbeat became more stable. The progress of the metal wall technique continued to increase, as if it would never stop. Half a day. 1 day. 2 days. Finally, 2 days later, Zhao Feng found that his metal wall technique had reached the 4th level. You're tuning in to the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.